I want to officially welcome you all to our NSA Houston Professional Development Workshop. This is not just a meeting. We are here to meet, so we've had a chance to talk, but we are here to learn, grow, and develop our speaking careers, which is at the heart of what we do at NSA Houston. We've got an exciting program lined up for you, and we are just, again, just really grateful. We're going to have some different other opportunities for us to be able to talk and connect as well. I want to take a moment to recognize our guests. Any guests that are here with us, if you could either just clap your hands, give us some sort of indication in Zoom, use those Zoom reactions, and let us know that you're here. Hi, Kelly. So glad that you are here. And now, everybody, let's give Kelly a thank you for being here. So glad that you're here. And Kelly, as a guest, our Director of Membership, Mike Lejeune, will be happy to answer any questions that you have about NSA, and he's waving over there with his hat on. Any questions that you may have about NSA Houston, our local chapter, about getting paid to speak, any of the great things that we do. And of course, the entire board of directors is here to support you as well, which, speaking of, because none of this would happen without our amazing board of directors. And silly me, let me introduce myself. My name is Alana Hill. I'm the president of the National Speakers Association Houston chapter. Privileged to be here to serve you guys today because it's all about servant leadership. Couldn't do this without an incredible board. And that board consists of Kim Davis, Rob Pennington, Mike Lejeune, Jackie Harris, who am I missing? Oh, Karen McCullough, and Ed Robinson, who's not with us, and Jill Hickman, who's also not with us. But if you guys can give a quick heart on your reactions so that everybody can see who you are for our board of directors. Do the reactions with a heart. All right, there they are. All right, and everybody else give them a clap for our board of directors. They literally make everything happen on our board. We're a volunteer board, and so we do this in between working our speaking businesses, loving on our fur babies, and loving on our non-fur babies, right?
Hey, Alana,
Yeah.
there's another guest that's here, I believe. That's
Oh,
Jennifer Nels. Jennifer, this is your first time joining us, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you so
Yes.
oh,
much.
hi, Jennifer.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. We want to
Hey,
acknowledge
Jennifer, welcome.
another visitor.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. So glad you could join us.
Yeah.
We certainly, again, want you to be able to connect with Mike. He can answer any questions that you have, as well as anybody that's on our board of directors here to support you and answer any questions that you may have. So within NSA, one quick overview of NSA, we are a group, a merry band of professional speakers. We are people who get paid to speak. That means that we use our voice, and we use our voice in a variety of ways. We speak, we consult, we train, we write, we share our knowledge, and we are thought leaders in our particular area. So that is what makes NSA so special, is that we have an amazing group of people that come from a variety of backgrounds, all with the goal of changing the world by running their mouths. How cool is that? Okay. So in that, we have several different memberships. And that first membership are our Academy members. And our Academy members join because they want to learn how to develop a speaking business, right? Anybody can run their mouth. Anybody can pop on a Facebook Live. But you want to get paid to do it. You want to impact and influence others. So any Academy members that we have on today, go ahead and give us a reaction with a heart or a wave. I see Alice there. I see Deirdre. I'm going to say it right. I got it right. Okay, we all talked about that earlier. And then we have a couple of other Academy members that will be joining us later. And again, our Academy is a great mentoring program. So those of you who are new to the business of speaking, I encourage you to join that. We'll have a spring Academy kicking off next in 2021. I have to figure out where we are, and it's a great opportunity to learn and grow and have that mentoring. So those are our Academy members, and the goal is for our Academy members to grow in their enthusiasm and in their careers and become professional members of the National Speakers Association. And professional members are members of the national organization, and they also are members locally. But the cool thing is that they are actually regularly getting paid to speak, and so there are minimum requirements for that. So will our professional members please give a reaction with a heart on your Zoom there, or wave your hand any way to show that you are here as a professional member, and that gives acknowledgement to our professional members. All right. And then again, because we are all growing, developing, and just continuing on our trajectory, the next level within the growth and development of a professional speaker is a designation that is earned by less than, I think, 10%. The number, of course, changes. A small percentage of professional speakers, I'll put it that way. It's a professional designation. It's called the Certified Speaking Professional, or CSP. And to receive the CSP designation, they actually submit not only the requirements of speaking engagements, but also fiscal, showing that they've gotten paid to a certain level for at least 5 years. So there are these requirements, and they get peer reviewed. There's nothing like having other speakers review your speaking and say right? So this is part of the CSP process, and there's a little bit more to it. You can learn some more about that on nsaspeaker.org. But I want to acknowledge our CSPs that are in the room. So will our CSPs give us come on, let's see you. All right, there you are, Karen and Ramon. We have CSPs. Thank you. And they have the opportunity to represent the incredible value of that designation. We also have the highest, so CSP is the highest earned designation, and then we've got the CPAE, which is, we call our Speaker Hall of Fame, but that is an honor bestowed upon some of our CSPs. And we don't have any present with us, but I just wanted to acknowledge that exists, because one of the things that we do, even at the chapter levels, that we are constantly connected to NSA nationals. Did I say at the local level, we're constantly connected to the nationals. So I always want to be mindful that I remind you guys of the privileges and the benefits of being members of National Speakers Association. You get this great Zoom discount. There are business insurance discounts. There's several other member-only benefits that you receive by being members of National Speakers Association, and therefore speakers of NSA Houston. So I've had the chance to acknowledge everybody that is here today, but what I want to do now is I want to hand it over to our Vice President of Programs, Kim Davis, and she is going to help us understand the rest of our program and introduce our speaker, because she is one that reached out and found him. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Right.
Over to you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Lana. Good morning, everybody. And thank you guys for giving us, not giving us, but sharing a part of your Saturday morning with us. We hope that you're going to get some fun information, have a good time, and walk away with some things that can help you in your business wherever you are. And I'm really excited about our speaker. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and you're going to find out that this is pretty spot on. So his name's Ramon Ray. He is the founder of Smart Hustle Media. Okay, he's an entrepreneur, he's a speaker, he's an author, and here's one of my favorite things about him. He loves burnt pancakes and bacon on the weekend. So I don't know if he got a chance to have his burnt pancakes this morning, but that's one of the things that he wants you to know about him. He started 4 companies. He sold 2. I can't wait to hear about that. He's also authored 4 books. His latest is Celebrity CEO, How Entrepreneurs Can Thrive by Building a Strong Personal Brand. So he's been invited as an expert witness to Congress. He's been invited to speak at the White House on personal branding. Let that sink in for a bit. He interviewed President Obama in the president's first live video chat, and was with Ivanka Trump at the Golden Entrepreneurship Summit in India. So he shared the stage with some names that we as speakers have probably heard of: Seth Godin, Damon John, Guy Kawasaki, Simon Sinek, and others. So we want to know how he does that. Like, how'd you get in those spaces? What have you done to elevate your business and your brand to this level? He's going to tell us all that today. And we're going to walk away knowing how to do exactly that. Okay, that's a tall order. But at any rate, help me welcome Ramon Ray all the way from New York City?
New Jersey, close enough.
Close enough.
New York City.
So you're in
New York City when
you
I'm
can
not.
be anywhere anyway. So thank you for being here.
New Jersey. All right.
And can we give a round of applause? Since we're not in person, right? So I think the hand waving is good to Kim. I would like to give that back to her, that love back to Kim. Thank you, Kim. We've exchanged a lot of emails and planning this. She's worked very hard on this. It's been several months, I want to say. It seems like forever, but I know that many NSA chapters plan out their program, and we do too, like a year or whatever in advance. So Kim, thank you. And thank you to the board and others for receiving me. We had a great call in the green room, as it were, the 30 minutes beforehand, a lot of fun. And to those possibly listening to the recording, welcome to you, and thanks for taking the time to listen to it. So thank you all for having me. And I think a few things I'll say right at the top as far as questions. And one, I acknowledge that everybody may not be able to stay the whole time. So I will take it personally when your screens go dark. I will take it personally, and I will find you and call you out on it later on. That's one. Two, if you have questions about things I'm saying, if it's okay with Kim, and I'll defer to Kim right now, or Alana, however it is, I don't mind you just unmuting and saying, hey, Ramon, because there's a slight delay, so just call my name. In particular, though, if it's on that point of clarification, if that's okay. And what I'll try to do, and I see you're nodding, Kim, so I'll continue on your affirmation. Thank you. So if there's something longer that you want, what I'll try to do is pause after a few sections, and I don't mind having a short dialogue, because really for me, and I think I echo what the board wants and Kim wants, I'm here to serve you. We're just fellow speakers. This is not some paid keynote I'm doing, whatever. We're just here to chill and learn from each other and share my story, which hopefully you all will learn something from it. So I think that's that. But if you want to use the chat, go ahead. I probably won't be looking at the chat a lot, though, only so that I can focus, on the lens and all that. But if you have a clarifying question, either feel free to wave. But then, sometimes what happens, and I'm sure y'all seen it, the person's talking to their husband or son or wife or scratching their head. And I'm like, oh, Randy, were you saying something? She's like, no. I was just itching. So feel free to unmute and just, to Ramon, and I'll hear that and pause. So I think we can do that. And I'm happy to be here. But really, I hope to not talk the whole time. And definitely, Kim and the board, feel free to stop me to help us do this together to clarify things. Yes, Kim, please.
So if you do put something in the chat, I'll make sure I'm keeping my eye on it, so you don't have to worry about it. If there's something I need to pull out, I'll let you know. So.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, and the chat's fine, especially if you want it. And I don't mind. Everybody runs meetings different, but I don't mind people chatting while I'm talking. It doesn't bother me if there's something that was interesting or there's a side conversation, but I'll leave it up to Kim and the board how y'all do your meetings. But for me, I don't mind a lot of confusion. I love it, in fact. I thrive in it. So with that, I'll start, and I'm just excited to be here. It's amazing. Those of you who've given talks and discussions with your fellow NSA professional speakers, I think it's the toughest. Because, all of us are speakers here. When you're speaking to people who see you as something, Ramon Ray speaking to Toyota, they're here to learn from you. But speaking to your peers, I'm looking around here at Karen and Mike and Jackie and Rob, we're all ballers. We all speak. So I find it tougher. It's like, man, you can't BS with this group. They know the real deal. So we have some time together, and I'm happy and all. And what I've done is broken it into a few things. So what I'm going to do today, I have a few slides. I'm going to show about 11 slides. That's one. I'll show that. It's not, but mainly this will be me speaking to you, and whether you can see me or you have to go to the bathroom or something and hear me, I think you'll have value. So it's not going to be very interactive like that, like tons of thousands of slides. I felt to just share. Two, I do have some an outline that I put, an extensive outline that I put together for this talk to help keep me on track. So after this, I will share that with you. There's no going to be any email first. I don't do any coaching, by the way, or consulting. Some people do that, and God bless them. I got nothing for you after this. I'm done. So there's no secret, and you can get to my upsell. All I'm going to give you it's just a Google Doc, and I'll share that later on. So I think that's that. And I thanked Kim already. And one thing I will share is my setup for today. I'm only doing that because I like when people do that to me. I like to know how they're seated. Some people already have a good setup professionally. Others are still kind of struggling. So I'll just share it. I would move my camera. You know what? I will move my camera. I'm going to get very personal. I'm just going to show you real quick. And would anybody like to see it? There's nothing special, but is that helpful? Okay, good. Yeah. Because I know for me, Kim, I love other speakers, Rob, especially those who have all these ninja stuff. I'm like, okay, tell me, Tim, what? How does that connect? We all learn. So, but mine's simple. But here's just what I have to show you. Probably screwing it up. So this is just a little gooseneck light that I have here. So I have that there. I got it from Amazon. I'll pull back a bit. You can see that clip kind of there. That's what I have for my lighting. And I have two of them. One's on that side too. So that's all. And then I have two monitors here, which I won't show you, but I just wanted to show you that. So my setup's pretty simple. And the other thing that I do, though, when I'm going to share my screen, you can see me doing this right now. This is just using the Logitech software. So it's a virtual camera, virtual camera as it were, running through the Logitech software, and I can just toggle Alt-1, Alt-2 to bring it back. So I just wanted to show that to you, if it's all helpful. There's 1,000 different ways to do it, and you can use external like switchers. But for me, I figure for what I'm doing, because I'm not some Brian Fanzo type of, having drones fly all over It's just too much for me, but that's my little setup if it's helpful. So I just wanted to show that to you all and show you what I've been doing. Yeah, so March 13th was a time of infamy, I'm guessing, for many of us. Many of us probably can remember this headline, right? We can remember this headline going through where we're stay at home, right? The shelter in place. Many of us can remember this. I don't know how many of you were on the way to South by Southwest. How many here were on the way to South by Southwest at all? We're going to South by Southwest at this time. Anybody remember that? Let me see. Anybody? Nobody's going. Okay, so you guys are not. Maybe anybody here? South by Southwest? No hands. Okay, good.
No, but I was trying to go to the rodeo.
Rodeo. Okay, so I'm a big South by South person. I've gone there. And South by Southwest, for those who don't know, it's a big event with thousands and thousands of people for the tech world. And so when that was canceled, I had a lot of fear. Went into my heart because, and I'm sure like many of you around that time, all worlds collided. Anybody, and you can use the reactions feature if you want, it's probably easier. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That third, fourth week of March, where the president announced, yeah, Mike, stay at home, and the whole world kind of just closed. Yeah, Karen. So that's kind of the point of context. And I see most of us, all of us, Alice, I see your emoji there. All of us experienced that. And that's the frame of reference, I think, that 8 months ago or so now, that happened to all of us. Our worlds stopped. And I think the context is so important of how I've been blessed to say that I've been able to not only survive, but been able to thrive and grow my business. So I hope I can, in the next few minutes we have together, share that story. So what is my business comprised of? I'm the founder of, as Kim said, smarthustle.com, a media company. In my business, in a nutshell, I work with large global brands like Microsoft, Salesforce, AT&T, Verizon, tech-focused brands, and I provide them credibility and authenticity to help them in their businesses. So what that means is that it's speaking, right? In the world of speaking, AT&T is saying, Ramon, can you host an event? Can you do this? Can you do that? Or the world of also influencer marketing, right? Influencer marketing, meaning where many of these brands are coming and saying, can you produce content for us? So that's my book of business and what I do as a business. The other three things I do, have a few lines of revenue, are I'm a speaker, of course, as I've said. Then there's sponsored content. So many of these same brands, let's say PayPal is launching something, right? PayPal may come to me and say, Ramon, we're launching a new product. Can you put together 10 articles on that and share that with your Smart Hustle community? So that's the second thing I do kind of in the influencer marketing side of the world. And I also do events. So if those of you who are near a computer, if you want to just go to, if you want to get a flavor for it, if you go to surviveandthrivesummit.com, nothing to sell you. I'm just showing you what I've done months ago. That's an example of one of the events that I produced out of COVID. And I'll share that story with you briefly. So I produce events and then I sell sponsorships to these companies to attend my events. So I think that's pretty much, yeah. And the last thing I do, then I have a community called Smart Hustle Nation, which will launch probably in about 3 weeks. I have the community already, but I haven't monetized it. That's one thing I haven't done too well, is selling something to my community. So that's my line of business. I just wanted to share that with you all, what I do for a living. I'm a speaker. I put events together that are sponsored by companies, and I have a community of people who pay me to be a part of the Smart Hustle or the Ramon Ray community. And I will tell you the story briefly of Survive and Thrive Summit. In a nutshell, when March came around and South by Southwest was canceled, which is a big moment of panic for all of us. For me, it was South by Southwest. For Atlanta, it was going to the rodeo. But others, metaphorically, no more getting an airplane. And I just, this is my story. For those of you who don't adhere to this, just take the lesson learned. But I went to church that day, I prayed, and I have to give credit to God. Again, if you don't believe in God, this is not a sermon. I'm just sharing how I did it. I respect, what you may or may not believe. The point is that I went to church, prayed, and said, God, you got to help me. I can't travel. Nothing's happening. And that's where I was inspired to create this Survive and Thrive Summit. And lo and behold, I'll just give you a few of the tactics of how I did it, because I think that'll be helpful to some of you as well. So bottom line, I went on leadpages.net, put a landing page together. That's one. Two, I reached out to all my close friends who I knew I could just throw their name up and they wouldn't mind, because I wanted to showcase the proof of concept. So I know Crystal Washington is in the Houston chapter, a good friend of mine. So she's someone who I'm close enough to. I know I could throw her face, her image up, and then she would indeed, Randy, I could throw her name and image up and she wouldn't mind. At least the key is, here's what it is. And sometimes you guys can say this better than me. I don't like to say fake it before you do it, but I needed to quickly build the concept before I sold it. You follow what I mean? So thank you, Alice. I can see your nod there. So that's what I had to do, meaning I couldn't just put a PDF together and go to Microsoft and say, you know what? I'm thinking about doing Survive and Thrive Summit. I know the president just announced the whole country's closed. I know you're panicking. You have no clue what to do. Do you want to sponsor that for $10,000? I knew that wouldn't work. I had to build the red cup, take it to the company and say, here's the red cup. Do you want to buy it? If you follow what I'm saying. So the point is, those of you who are looking at the Survive and Thrive Summit website, lead pages, put that together, got all my friends and just put them on the site. Said, hey, I need you to speak here. That's 2. 3, then I used Eventbrite at the time, and there's many ways to do it, Eventbrite's ticketing system, and just embedded that into the site. So now I had the Survive and Thrive Summit. And this was one of the first, for me, big events that happened out of COVID. It happened April 20th. I've done 2 events since, one in April, one in August. We had over 2,000 people signed up. And that was a free event, but I sold 3 sponsorships at about $10,000 each to the sponsors. So that's one story if it's helpful for you, and I'm happy to talk about that at length anytime if anybody has a question on that. But I just wanted to inspire you and helpful. And again, I think by now it's old news. You know, we're launching almost to the beginning of a year of being shelter in place. But that little spark carried my family, and I cry very easily, y'all. So if I cry on this call, I know Houstonians don't mind, but you know, that carried us through getting that money because it dried up. I'm not some, Dave Ramsey type. Well, we have 5 years worth of revenue saved up in the bank. And no, sorry, that's not me. So that was that. Survive and Thrive Summit, how we did it. Let me pause there. Any questions, thoughts, comments? Cool. Mike, please.
Yeah, what platform did you use for the event?
Yeah, sure. So for this, I streamed it with StreamYard, and half of you know it, half of you don't, but I use StreamYard. And I like StreamYard, Mike, just because of the lower thirds. It looks cool, so if you're don't have broadcast equipment, it's one of the few platforms that make it look really nice. So thank you for asking that. So what we did, we had lead pages as a landing page, Eventbrite for the ticketing, integrated with Infusionsoft, and I can show some of that later on, probably won't do it now, but integrated with Infusionsoft. Yeah. So that was the registration process. And then as people signed up, I would just automatically email them, hey, thanks for signing up. We're going to stream it to youtube.com/smarthustle or whatever the thing was at the time. So that's what we did. And then I worked with a good team to help put it together and things like that.
So Ramon, I have a question. How do you start? Like, I know you've been working with brands for a while, but in terms of getting started with those relationships to be able to at least start, like from the beginning, because you've got some established relationships. So I'm wondering how you started.
Absolutely. And I wasn't going to cover that exactly like that when I talk about podcasting and email newsletter, but I will touch on it, but I'm going to answer it now. So remind me if I duplicate it, just say, Ramon, you said that already. But so here's how I started, Kim, really. And I think we've heard this. Jeffrey Hazlett talked about this in the last event we were all together. It was this year. We were all somewhere together. Thousands of us.
The winter conference.
Yeah, thank you. My brain is like, and that's another thing, Kim. I cry easily and I forget easily, Kim. So you may have to rein me back in and pull me back in. Ramon, hey, come back.
You're great.
Okay, but no, how I did it, I've been in this space for over 20 years, and I'm sure all of us are mature. Some of us, I think we've heard one person here is relatively new, 5 years they've been out of corporate, but half the group, usually it's metaphorically, has been in this business for a while. So we have our relationships. For me, I've been always an interviewer for a long time. So the secret of this, Kim and others, when you are the media, you can get close to companies who you want to be your client or reach out to you much easier than if you're not. So let's take Jackie. Jackie's trying to reach, I'm making it up, Samsung. Jackie comes to Samsung as a corporate trainer or as a facilitator or wants to work in whatever, it's going to be harder to reach them. But Jackie working through, and I see your nod there, Rob, Jackie working through the PR team saying, hey, and Jackie, you didn't have to go off camera. I knew you were listening. I was just calling you out so I could just to talk to everybody. But so Jackie going to Samsung and saying, can I interview you for the leadership series? 90% of the time they're going to say yes. So that's the secret, Kim. So for the last many years, through my first company, smallbiztechnology.com, which I sold, and then my company now, smarthustle.com, I'm the media, and it's legit. Some people try to confuse it. I'm really a coach. I just got a small podcast. No, 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 no. Smart Hustle is a media company. We produce news. So the secret is, guess who's in my database? I know every tech company, Alibaba, Microsoft, Salesforce, Verizon, mention any company that's targeting small businesses, they all know the name RamonRay.com. So that helps me, Kim. So when it's come times for me to flip that around, I've interviewed, I'm making it up, Kelsey, who's a product manager of MailChimp. That doesn't mean they're going to buy from me, but I've just interviewed her. Her PR team just have been emailing me where they needed me, right? I was in demand now. But now, 2 months later, I can then go back to Kelsey's PR team, hey, because they already know me now, and sell them something. Doesn't mean all will buy, or I'd be a very wealthy man. Trust me on that. But for my little business and my little world, and I'm going to show you my numbers in a minute here, I just need 20 or 30 big checks a year. I'm good. So that's my model. Hence why I've never done coaching, consulting, things as many of you do on here, which is good. I wish I was doing more coaching or consulting. People tell me, Ramon, why don't you have individual clients? Just not what I do. So hope that will thumbs up, Kim. That was a good answer. You follow, that was cool.
So that was great. And I will talk to you offline because I actually have a media company. I've been doing I've been in media is what I do. So
Yeah, okay.
I don't do it with sponsorship type people.
Yes, right.
I do news and sports.
Okay.
But it is legitimately I'm a journalist, so I can turn that into something later.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll do it together. I'll take 10% or 1%. Okay. 0.5%.
Perfect.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that. And keep the questions coming. Anytime you have it, just unmute because again, I have multiple screens. So if I may not be able to see everything, feel free to just like Kim did. Hey, Ramon, clarifying question. No problem at all. Okay. So that was kind of just talking about Ramon's business. I wanted to share that. And then who was Ramon? I think Kim has already said that, so I won't repeat that again, everything, but a celebrity CEO. I'm going to dive into some of those principles. That's the thrust of what I want to talk about today. And I think I won't, no need to, I was raised in Brooklyn. That's another data point about me, but Kim has shared that as well. So I think what I'll move to now, before I get to the meat of some of the tips of how I'm running my business, just to share how I got here briefly. And I don't really, I wish I had a dotted line to it, but again, I'm just a person, I'm a spaghetti person, even though I don't like pasta. I hate pasta because my son and my wife have it so much, but I may have said that too loud. Ooh, honey, I love you, but I just don't like pasta. But anyways, what was I at? Yes, how I got here. So bottom line. So I've had no formal training in speaking and things like this. Some of you, have worked for large brands and you've had a bit more formality. You have your MBA or your doctorate and all this. I'm just not one of those people. My journey into speaking, professional speaking, was pretty much accidental. So as a child, I was kind of tech-oriented, if that makes sense. As a child, I was tech-oriented, the kind of person, I think it was Teddy Ruxpy would have been in the 80s, maybe-ish, something. I think, yeah, something like that. But taking apart teddy bears, I see your smile, so she knows that time frame. So, taking apart teddy bears. Radio Shack was big back in the day when the little electronics kit. Anybody here, show of hands, ever put together electronics kit, or was I the only one in this group? Okay, Alana, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You got those little springs, you tilt it and take the wire apart and stick it in there. Yeah, okay, see. I knew there was something special about Atlanta. So point is, that was the slant. And I say that, some of you are artists, some of you are creative, some of you, whatever. For me, I had the tech slant, just sharing how I got here. So that was one thing. And I think that led then to me when I discovered, meaning not that I made it, but discovered the internet, bulletin board systems, Prodigy, AOL. So that's my slant of the world, including setting fire to a wall in my home and dealing with chemicals and burning one of my pastor's legs. I had a very interesting childhood. So, meaning I didn't burn intentionally. We were playing with chemicals and anyways, the chemicals got too hot and I dropped it and burned on his leg. So that was good. But maybe that's why he's a missionary in Honduras now. I don't know. But okay, so I digress. So very tech-oriented. I think my first speaking I can remember was to SCORE. SCORE, if those who don't know, the free government consulting service. Kim, you crack me up. So there, and I'm going to cut to the chase, a friend of mine really, she just gave me, she recommended me. And by then, by the way, I was working at the United Nations. I was one of the youngest people hired at the United Nations at that time. I think I was 19 or 20, can't remember, but barely out of high school. And so they hired me to work there. That's a different path in my life that I won't share today. I can, but in essence, I was fired from there for being entrepreneurial. But the point is, I took the techie side of me, started speaking at SCORE about technology and small business. And from there, word of mouth spread. And today, here I am. I can remember, I'm curious, I don't know who's gone through this as well. I'm curious where somebody asked you to do your first paid speaking gig and you didn't know they paid speakers. Anybody go through that, or was that just me? Okay. So good, Mike in Atlanta. So that was you see, y'all know what I'm saying. It's like I was just speaking for free. And then one day, the big honcho, there wasn't a, email or whatever. Hey, Mr. Ray, we see you speaking at SCORE. How much would it be for you to go to Queens, 20 minutes away, and speak at our event? How much? I don't know. You said you were going to give me a hamburger. So that's good enough. So eventually I learned that you can make money. So that's kind of the summary of my journey into speaking the professional world. And it just grew and grew from that. So I'm going to move to the second part of my, the main thrust of what I want to talk about today, some of the tips and tools and tactics, which have really helped me with the speaker. I'll pause. I don't think there's any questions because I've given you all permission to just unmute or ask. But anybody have any clarifying comments before I dive into the thrust of what I want to touch on today? Okay, good.
I just want to say geeks rule.
Indeed, we do. Indeed. I see you, Rob, there too. So we'll dive into that. I'm not sure exactly. Again, this is I told, and I think I want to acknowledge, is this Josh Johnson? I don't know if you're in a noisy place. Is this my brother from another mother?
What's going on, Ramon?
What's up, Josh? Josh, born in Harlem, tap dancer, been on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Dancing with the Stars and more. Josh is my little brother. So Josh, thanks for being here. And Kim, thanks for letting Josh hang with me today. So Josh is a speaker as well, and we learn from each other. Thanks for being here, brother. So, okay, cool. So let's move on. So I think one thing I found, and what I've done is broken this into two kind of parts, this presentation, this talk. One is going to be some, I'll call it fundamentals. All of us here are ballers and seasoned in some way, but hopefully what I share today, even though I think we know it, it can help remind you. That's kind of how, like a good sermon at church, right? Come on, we know some of us here, if you don't, or if you're Muslim or other Hindu, whatever your religion may or may not be. My point being, we know these things, but a good message helps remind us. So I hope this part will do that. And then what we're going to do is dive into some technologies and other things and share some screens. So here we go. The roller coaster, buckle your seats, has now officially begun. So one, I think, especially for beginning speakers, again, half this group are very seasoned speakers, so you know this already. But one of the things I've seen as far as what it takes to be a good speaker and have the business grow, especially through referrals, is just be a darn good speaker. Now, I'm not, and it sounds weird. Thank you, Kim and Rob and Karen. I see the nods. But all of us have seen speakers. And I find there's 2 or 3 different types of NSA speakers. Yes, there's some who are beginning and you're still nervous and all that. And this is what the Houston chapter is for, right? We are here and other things are going to share to help you in that. So no finger pointing at you at all. I'm glad you're here, and those listening to it, great. But I find some of this is just me. So, I'm like the pastor who's leaving a church in 2 hours. So, y'all can deal with Alana and Kim and the board on this. But I think some speakers are too polished. I think they're just too perfect. That's just me. For some reason, when I hear them, they're good, but, you know what I'm saying, Karen? So I think that some people, it's like, and I'm not saying it doesn't make you good, but for example, I think we've heard this, and it could, I hope somebody here didn't say, and if you did, I say this in love, but like, I think the new speakers feel that everybody has to pause first. Like, and we're going to bring Karen. We've all been taught. One day, I was walking through the fields. You don't got to start that way. So I'm not saying, it's just, I've started seated. I've started doing some crazy stuff in the back. I mean, you can just be you. So I think that's the one thing that I've seen. I'm going to get into some tactics and tips. I promise you, if you're disappointed, I'm going to get into some more, the technical stuff. But I found that that's been the one thing that's helped me. So the few key points, because I want to move on here and I don't want time to go by too fast. I'd rather end earlier than end later. But it's be a great speaker. Be engaging. And everybody has a different gift, I must say, in fairness. You have the Simon Sinek type speaker and who's the famous guy? What's his name? Tony Robbins type guy. Different people. Simon Sinek is that beautiful British or whatever accent, or Australian, whatever it is. And hello, we all need to start with why. That excites some people. So we all have a different style. But when I say engaging and magnetic, whatever that means for you, whatever God's blessed you with. I might say, you can't be me. I can't be you, but I'm saying, express for those hearing this, for those here now, let's all work to be more engaging, be magnetic. And I think the other thing that's helped my speaking career is making connections and networking. It sounds weird, and maybe I don't sell the best, but I have a client of mine who I know is not going to hire me because I'm working for a competing company. She's working with one of my quote unquote friends who are also my competitors. Do you know I still call her twice a year or so just to be in touch? We talk about family. I call and give her tips. She asks me questions about, because she's new to the hiring speakers. She asked me how to hire better speakers. She's not even going to hire me this year. But my point is I do it purposely to keep in touch. I can only handle so much book of business. So I think that's the non-technical side, and I'll get into the technical stuff. But really, I've learned the aspect of just being a good speaker. And part of that, I think, is, again, being a great speaker, being engaging, being magnetic, making the great connections. And the last thing I've been told to my clients, be easy to work with. I've heard this over and over. They never say I spell well, because I don't. They never say Ramon has perfect diction, because I don't. I slur my words. And, some of you can speak better than me. But one thing they know is Ramon will crush the stage, even though he'll slur a few words. And he's easy to work with. And I can learn from people. I've learned a lot from many in our chapter here, Lois Kramer and Crystal and others here. And I'm glad to get to know you all, learn from you all as well. But I think for me, some speakers are very technical speakers. The contract has to be this, that, and the other. And those things are important, especially when you talk about intellectual property. So I'm not poo-hooing that or what the chapter may have guided. But I think there's a bit of latitude sometimes we need to have. If I'm working with Jennifer, right? Jennifer is referred to by Kim. Jennifer and I have agreement. It's only a $5,000 deal. Jennifer, why do I don't got to have your saliva sample and take you through the ringer just to work with you? You feel what I'm saying? It's like life is too good. I think we lose the art of just trusting a bit. So you feel what I'm saying, Rob. And I'm not saying, again, shouldn't have legal agreements. But I find for me, sometimes I guess, thank you, Karen, sometimes the bigger brands are so used to us speakers who we think we're Britney Spears, or we think we're, I don't know, whoever it is, or Oprah. Oprah can have the quote-unquote green M&Ms. But me, you know what? If the water's relatively clean, it can have a little bit of hair dirt in it. It's okay. I'm teasing on that. But, if the water's relatively clean, the plane's okay. I'm teasing, but you get what I'm saying. And I'm there. The details, I've been in some things before. And again, everybody has a different way they do it. But I've been around some speakers. The mic has to be a certain kind. For me, it just, at the last minute, they're making the sound crew go in circles. I've seen us do this. I've seen us speakers do this because they were told they would have this kind of mic. And I just would caution on that. So for me, I believe that's one thing that's been a repetitive thing. Oh, another thing I'll say, and hopefully anybody listening to this, please never share it with the client. I'm just going to call out a name. One of my clients is Verizon. And what they told me just last week, they said, Ramon, we've hired and worked with a lot of speakers, but many speakers seem to not care. And so what happened was I was hired to host an event. And the person who I was hosting with the panelists, they weren't really on their A game because they're small business owners. They're not professional speakers like we are. I helped them produce the event better. If you feel what I mean, I kind of took more time to go through the questions and say, you know what, maybe let's ask the question this way. So my point is I didn't have to do it, but they called it out and said, Ramon, in this series, we've had many speakers. They just show up, read the darn script and leave. We paid them still. You have taken time to own this with us. So that's another tip that I think for me has helped that I get into it. And again, some speakers may say, Ramon, did you charge an extra 27%? No, I didn't. I just was me. But I think that goes into the endearment of the Kim on the Verizon side. I made her life easier. You feel what I mean? And I say the Kim meaning in our relationship. Kim, the board said, Kim, go out and get 10 speakers this year. The more I make it difficult, and I see your thumbs up, brother, the more I make it difficult for Kim, do you think Kim's going to want to hire me again? She's going to be like, no. The last time we worked with Ramon, he made my job bad. He made me look bad. It was a wreck. So it sounds small. But let's remember, the more we make that person who's in charge of getting us their life easier, they're going to say, yes, Ramon, we're going to hire you now for 10 contracts. So, and that happens to me all day. Another one of my clients is SAP. One lady connected me. See, this is where I start to tear up. See, I cry so easy. One lady, she approached me via email. She said, Ramon, I see you make burnt pancakes and bacon. We're SAP. We're a very boring company, and we need you. This is 3 years ago. That lady has poured multiple six figures into me over the last 3 years. And I wasn't even working with her. She just said, hi, Ramon, because she's a baller in the company, a senior person, and people come to her. So I just wanted to share that. That's the thing. And I know we know this, but to remind us, that's what happened when you lower the throttle a bit and being perfect and have to be a certain way, my way, and just let people flourish and be kind to people. They hire you more and more. So let me move to some of the technical stuff. Yeah, okay, Alana, there we go. We'll have to compare notes and make that money go in a circle more. Sorry, I'm not leaving y'all out, but this is an Atlanta Ramon thing. Sorry. Well, we got to invite Kim too, because Kim's my agent for the Houston chapter. So, we got to give her happy. We got to give her at least 2%. So, but then Karen and Jennifer have been nodding and affirming, so we may have to give them a little bit to shut them up too. So I'm just teasing you. Okay, let's move on. So that's being magnetic. Second bucket I want to get into is the business of speaking, which has helped me, the business of speaking. And a few things I'll say there. I think one, I find that many of us as speakers, I believe we focus too much on being a speaker and not enough on being a business owner. And this I've only learned in recent year or two as I've been reading books from Dave Ramsey, EntreLeadership, reading Gino Wickman's Traction, doing things like that, which I've been focused on being a business owner, not just a professional speaker. In fact, personally, I don't see myself as a professional speaker. I more so see myself as an entertainer, as something else. But my point is, so I think this second point, as it were, I think is that I would ask us to transition our minds to, are we a speaker or are we a business? And to that point, I've gone over with my team. What is my purpose? What are my values? What is my mission? Now, this may seem like big company stuff, but it's helped my business. How many here, whether you can use the show or wave, how many here have on your site or on your team? If I ask your executive assistant, how many your team or somebody and you have a purpose, a value, and a mission? Anybody have that in their company? Okay, one or two. Okay, good. So I would encourage, and some people may not be able to hit the button in time, but everybody else, I would encourage you to do this and crystallize it. And I'm not saying forget about being a speaker, but I found the more I've treated my business as a business, my company's grown. And I'm telling you, by God's grace, we are 30% more revenue this year than we did last year. And this is a time when many people are hurting. And I believe it's all been because the purpose, the values, the mission, I've been less focused on, not less, but I've prioritized more the business of speaking more than me being a speaker. Another thing that's being very important is this aspect of a flywheel. And I'm going to put this link in the chat right now. You're welcome to go there and buy the book. No affiliate or anything. I'm just saying that because, some people get tizzy on this. But I'm going to put this here in the chat. Jim Collins has a book called The Flywheel. How many have read that book or come across it? I'm sure the leadership people, some of you may have, but anybody come across? Okay, good. So, okay, Karen, good. So good. So Flywheel's here. And the reason why it's helped me, and again, this is an example of the business side of speaking that I think we as speakers need to do more. So what Jim Collins does is very small print, so I'm not trying to show you now, and this is not the best experience, but I just want to give it to an example of what he's drawn here. Is he's drawn, what is the circle that makes your business run? So here's what it is for Smart Hustle. I wrote down our flywheel. I'm saying it from memory, so I don't know it exactly. Ramon produces, and this is for me, flywheels are very unique to your business, so don't copy mine. Ramon produces a ton of social content. That social content builds up attention and trust to his community. In that community are large corporate brands looking for people like Ramon. They reach out to Ramon and hire Ramon. That's my flywheel. That's it. And people ask me then, Ramon, why are you online all the time? Some of you may have seen, I took an Instagram post, but before I got on the call, why am I on social all the time? And I'm going to talk about social in a minute. That's my flywheel. SAP found this shaved head, blue sweater, glasses wearing guy, and they called out that you eat burnt pancakes and bacon, and the vegetarians amongst us, forgive me, I mean no slight, but my point is that's me, and they hired me from it. So my flywheel, for me, it works. For Kelly, it may be something different. Some of our speakers do direct sales to associations. That may work for her. Alice may say, I do whatever. But know your flywheel. Know your flywheel. And that's the part about business that I find helpful. Anybody else here, you may not call it a flywheel. Has anybody here done anything like that in their business? And I ask, I know we have a variety of people. Some have been speaking for a while and some have not, but okay. So it's kind of new for most of you. So I would consider do some version of that, some version of what's your flywheel. And when I talk about tools, remind me, if you don't mind, to come back to how I've integrated my flywheel into Asana. And that, oh, I need like a handkerchief, like if I was at a Black Baptist church. But so, and I'm not even Baptist. And when I was in school, by the way, they called me Oreo, so I don't even know what I am. But the point is, let me not go there. I'm going way too deep here. Let me keep moving on before Alonda's like, Ramon, we need to yank you. Sorry, we're gonna have to mute you. Kim, you're all right. So let's move on here. So your flywheel. 2 is to be a good leader and inspire your team. And I'm not going to talk about this in length because I want to move on to some of the technical things. But for me, and there's a lot of leaders on this call already, so this is what you all speak about. I think Rob and Alana and others. But the point is that I've realized in order for me to grow my speaking business, I also have to invest more into my team. And I'm going to talk about who my team is in a minute. Actually, my team right now. So on my team, I have, I think it's 5 people. 1, I have my executive assistant, client services person. So that's one person on my team. She's my executive assistant for travel and things like that. And I've been figuring out also what's the best role for her because she does so many things well. And I realize it's client services. So my job in the company is to sell. And for anything that doesn't require me, her job is to touch base and work with our team and fulfill it. And guess what? It set me free. I'm watching a whole episode of FBI on Amazon at 3 p.m. on Thursday. It's a good life. So a lot of like, yes. So and maybe we'll have to co-watch together like Engineer Guide or something together. I don't know. We'll pick up some corny show. Okay, so executive assistant client services. Then I have a content manager. And Kim, this goes back to the part about, content. You already know these things, the content manager, Kim, but how we're using it. So my content manager is so I can get bylined articles. My thought leadership can go out. We can cover news stories of the day. So I have a content manager, and I recommend now, I call it content manager, and I find that probably 3/4 of the NSA tribe overall, and actually Josh is in this category too, my friend Josh, is that they're not comfortable doing the marketing, social media. It's just not them. And so Josh, just so you know, my brother, you are not alone. Many NSAers have told me, Ramon, all this social stuff, the images, graphic, Canva, it's not me. You went off mute, Josh. What do you want to say?
No, I was gonna say I hear you.
I know you do. I know you hear me. I know you do. I'm just calling you out. So my point is that, but I have a content manager. So, and there's a lot of resources, a lot of people you can hire to help you do this and scale you. And the reason why this is important, because when Kelsey finishes a speech, when Kelsey, has some amazing knowledge that she thought of out of the shower, somebody needs to help make that into content online. And I'll get into that later on. But that's why my content manager is important. So on my team, I have a client services person and executive assistant. That's one role. I have my content manager, the second person. I then have my creative person. Now, my creative person is in the Philippines. Content manager intentionally is in the U.S. I need a native English speaker. But for content management, this guy is off the chain. And so he handles my graphics and video and all those kind of things. And guess what? His business is growing because of me, and he may hire another person to service me, which is great. I don't want to talk to more people. I just want him. But he's like, Ramon, you keep sending the checks. I'll keep doing the work. So it's happy. So that's that. Then I have an event manager on my team. Event manager, her name is Liz Caruso, and she helps me host and put together all my events. Because again, I'm very clear on what do I want to do. I want to kind of be the producer. I want to be the Tyler Perry. I don't want to just be the Steve Harvey, as it were, be just the speaker. Like I said before, I want to, for my business, I want to be the producer of stuff. And I've sent checks to many speakers. So I've been blessed to be able to do that. So event manager, then I have a team of writers who write for me as well, because again, my model's a bit different. And then lastly, I've recently hired a publicist. Now, this was, for me, a significant amount of money. For some of the ballers here, like for Karen, she's probably like, a few thousand a month, that's nothing. She spends that on coffee. I'm just teasing Karen. Karen's like, Ramon, what? But just teasing y'all. Karen's like, I made that myself for 2 cents. But seriously, no. But my publicist, here's what I'm experimenting with. I thought I was competing with Inc., Huffington Post, etc., on some small level, as I've been trying to grow smarthustle.com, if you follow me, meaning I thought it was a content play. But I realized for the next 2 to 3 years, and I see your nod there, Kim, it's all about Ramon. I'm just going to sell Ramon. It's much easier for me to sell Ramon and monetize Ramon. So you're going to see over the next year or two, I'm diving all in on Ramon, not as an arrogant way. My wife may say that, but anyways, to the public, what I need to say is that selling myself. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by that. But you're going to see over the next few months, people already thought Ramon was already visible out there. It's only going to increase. Ramon is a thought leader. So no longer is it going to be, Tesla or Amazon. Jeff Bezos is the background. It's more going to be, I hate to use the word Gary Vaynerchuk because it's not a great example for us speakers. I don't think he's the best example, but it's going to be a lot more of focus on me, put it that way. And I'll get into that a bit later on. Okay. So that's what I'm moving to.
The story.
Please.
Yeah. It's because you are the story.
Yes.
And you are what people will buy.
That's exactly right.
Because you're the brand.
Correct. And I've been fighting it, Kim, meaning I've been fighting it, trying to be brought to you by Smart Hustle. And then there's Ramon. No, it's going to be Ramon's Smart Hustle, Ramon's Leadership Conference, Ramon's Marketing Conference, like that. So.
Hey, Ramon, I have a quick question.
Please.
About your creative person. I know you said they're in the Philippines, but what do they do that's different than what your content manager does? Absolutely.
Here's what I found is that, and thank you for asking, and feel free to keep your mic undone because this is very important. I know it's helpful to others that have asked this. So for my content manager, help me answer this question, Alana, because this is where Ramon's brain gets frizzy. We all have strengths, and I confuse myself, Alana, sometimes.
If we're trying to be linear thinkers. But go ahead.
So here's what it is. Let me start from the least common denominator in an honorable way. Even if he was on the call, I would say it. I've tried to get him to do other things, higher level things, but his genius is for me to say, John, I'm making a new book. This is a bad example even. Seriously, here's what I told him. Let's take this. Because Seth Godin's one of my distant mentors. I'll say, John, I'm producing another book. I love how Seth has this cover. Make me something like this, not like this. He gets it. And he'll go and do it. My content manager, Atlanta, I can have her on the call with you and me. I don't got to do nothing. She can write it, get it, digest it, take the notes, produce it, give me back the script, and tell him what the logo should look like. So that's the difference. That's not his gift. I needed someone native English right in my time zone that I can just throw stuff. Because I know I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be the person. I think deep, but I'm not going to be worried about commas and crossing I's and T's. That's just, I don't care about all that. Okay. She does. Was that helpful? That's kind of the difference.
Yeah. So that's kind of your separate graphics person I got
Correct.
it.
That's my ninja, after, when Black Enterprise asked me to host their event. John, Black Enterprise asked me to host their event. I don't like their imagery. You make me look like a rock star with Nick Cannon. That's another secret chick. So I can say,
what you did there too. I see what you did there.
Ramon and Nick Cannon are at the Black Enterprise Conference. I'm sorry, Robin, Jennifer, and Aja and Randy. I know y'all were invited too, but I just didn't care about y'all. I said Ramon and Nick Cannon and the graphic, if you feel what I mean. So that's what he can do, meaning, that kind of just graphics. That's kind of why I have two. Yeah. Okay. And she does graphics as well, Alana, ironically. But this is where, and I may touch on this, but I'm happy to do it now. All of us can use Canva. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you.
We can't all use it well.
You can smell somebody who did Canva by themselves and is not a professional designer. I need to compete I want mine to look as good or better than Oprah's. I'm not competing with, right. I'm not competing with Deirdre or Kelsey, meaning in a loving way, we're all similar. No. I want my stuff to look tight. Kim, were you going to add anything or say anything?
I have a question because I think so the creative person is your graphics design person, right?
And video editing, anything creative, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, and then the content person, they're helping you. Are they writing for you?
They're writing, or managing writers, or dreaming up ideas with how to broaden Ramon's content. That's also their gift. So you all see these it's push notifications on your phone. Like maybe if you get YouTube or CNN, it pushes to your phone or things like that. You may not notice it, but it's so integrated into our phones. She's got that for Smart Hustle. It sounds cool, but I'm a small business. She's like, Ramon, we can do push notifications to Smart Hustle. So that's her job. She's the senior person, as it were, who can manage all things for Ramon's brand, if that's helpful. Yeah. And she can get into, thank you. She can do a little video editing. She can edit audio. She like many of us, right? We're a little techie. She can navigate her way around, but he can edit a GQ magazine, and I'm sure Rob and Mike understand what I mean. When GQ has those images, the guy with the six pack, I don't know why they don't call us. I'm like saying to myself, why does GQ magazine have this guy with his shirt off on the front cover of GQ, and they should have had me? My graphics guy can do that. Mike, you know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, because I got a 1-pack. That's my problem.
All right, moving on here. So, yes, my team. So a few other things in this part about being a leader, as it were, is that I ask myself, what am I measuring? It's one. I'm not going to dwell on these things too much longer. I'm trying to plan ahead more. I want to get to other things, but planning ahead, that's another thing that's helped me out quite a bit. We are so busy sometimes, and often two things I haven't done well is launches. The ballers, all the ballers do launches. I'm curious, anybody here, show of real hands or just on the phone or whoever's available, anybody do launches? Okay, not too many people. Good. So launches is something you may want to get into. I'm not going to speak on that today, but launches means you're coming out with a book and you're teasing it out for 4 weeks. That's when I say launch. If you want to look up Jeff Walker, he's a well-known person, so it's not my expertise, but we're getting better into that. Like Smart Hustle Nation. Normally, I would just email it out. Hey, sign up for Smart Hustle Nation. No. We're going to launch Smart Hustle Nation. That's what I've seen most of the successful people who are making money do. So, and then know your numbers. And I will show this slide here. I'm blessed to say I'm only showing it just so you can get a sense here of, So here's my revenue chart for 2020. And you can see here, speaking, for good or for bad, I want it to be, let's see here. Let me go there. Oh, it went away. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. So you can see speaking is the bigger part of the revenue. I'm going back to when you have multiple things you're clicking, it's weird. Can you all? Oh, I haven't shared it right. Okay, let me share this better. Let's see. There we go. I think you can see that. No, yeah, there we go. I wanted to show that. Yeah, so speaking, and the numbers are not so important, but I just wanted to show it to you to get a sense of the key thing is know your numbers. So some people are very good at numbers. Some people aren't. Normally, I haven't been good at numbers, but I've been disciplining myself, reading Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First. So you can see here, custom content, I don't know the numbers, whatever the 20% or so of revenue. Speaking's been the lion's share of revenue this year, and that's webinars, speaking, etc. Sponsored content, the scalable part of my business, and then sponsored events. So I just wanted to show that to you to give you a vision, a sense of even myself. I'm doing better at knowing my numbers, and I encourage all speakers. This is where it goes to treat your business like a business. Two more things in this area, then we'll get into some other things, and soon I'm going to get into the personal branding and celebrity SEO and social media tips that I'm doing. But another thing, take non-fatal risks. I find that too many of us as speakers, we are a bit too conservative. And I don't mean that politically, but I think we don't take risks enough. When I think of my first big conference I did in 2000, the dream was in 2005. I produced it in 2006. It was called the Small Business Summit. And that was the second company I sold, by the way. I took my credit card and I think I put about $20,000 on it, maybe $10,000. Huge risk in 2006, huge risk. But I had a vision and I wanted to produce a conference. As Seth Godin says, I was tired of other people anointing other people. In particular, back at the time, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur, great magazines. But I was tired of being the girl or the little boy. You know how it is, right? We've all been to little school. That cute girl or cute guy in high school, y'all remember him? And you were in the outer circle. Anybody had that experience? I know I did. Where you were always either made fun of, or ostracized. I've been through that. Where you got picked last. And if I talk too long, I'm going to start crying for the second time. Oh, boy, I cry. So anyways. But I've been there. So I was tired of that. So I said, why am I going to wait for this company to host an event and invite me to speak? Heck no. Let me do my own event. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me be the big dog. Let me be the one on stage. Let me put my own posters up with my face there. I don't got to wait to be anointed. And I did it. That was 2006. And I did 14 events year after year and sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of sponsorships to it and ticket sales. So my point being, I'm digressing a bit, but the aspect of us taking more risks, and everybody's risk is going to be different. Jennifer's risk, she may be like, I'm mortgaging a whole house. Karen may say, you know what? I'm willing to forego coffee for today. That's about the highest risk I could do. And I'm having fun or whatever. You guys get what I mean. Whatever the risk tolerance you have is. But I think that more speakers, if we took a bit more risk, we may find ourselves being able to do a bit more things, especially in 2021. So take more risk, I think, is an important thing. Other thing I think is very important is partnering with other speakers. This, I think we can all do more partnering or even referring other speakers. Here's a book out by Carl Reeder. You can see that book there. This is not my book. Not my book. Somebody else's book. But I promoted his book. Bought it, did an Amazon review. And I'm only showing it to show you, by God's grace, I'm living what I preach. So my point is that I think that more of us can do that more. Sometimes the speakers were a bit too self-centered, that I think we could network and reach out and partner with others. So 2 more things I want to run through. I'm going to move into the longer portion of my talk. I'll probably do that about 11:15. I don't know if we take breaks or not, Kim, but I'll go to these 2 points relatively quick. I'll be over in about 10 minutes, and then we'll move to kind of another phase of this talk. But the other thing please.
After your next 2 points, then we'll break for a few minutes, and then we'll come back with the other part. Okay, cool.
Sounds good. So, and this is the high level. I hope it's been useful. When I'm done, I'm going to ask if it's been useful, and I'd appreciate it. Everyone would lie and just say it's been useful. That'd be good for me. But the point is that 2 other things I'll say that have when I say made me a successful speaker, I have a long way to go, but I'm saying that because I'm here to share with you all. So I say that in humility, but this is why I think I was thinking over the last few days, this is a fresh talk. What's helped me, thrive and succeed while others are hurting. So I think the other thing is that connecting with my clients and potential clients. This, I think, has been and here I'm going to show you a slide how I use Infusionsoft. This has been, I think, one of the killers or gems of what's been happening. So I got 4 points here, 6 points in this part. So 1, client list versus a fan list. And if anybody wants to go back and chat about these things after the break, we can, because it may be a little confusing. But I have 2 separate lists. 1 for my clients. And I only have a few clients, meaning at any given time, 20 clients. But I use Zoho CRM to keep track of my clients, people who feed me. And I can show you that later on. I'll come back to it maybe. Should I show it now? Yeah, I'm going to show right now. Yeah, I'm just going to show that right now. So here's just an example. Again, picture's worth 1,000 words. But this is an example of Zoho CRM. Nothing special, but let me make sure it's showing. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to show you, you can see the top left, SMB marketer, 520. And that's broken down, vendor 280, I think it says, and PR 314. What I'm trying to show there is that for Zoho, I can narrowly segment who's in my audience, if that makes sense. I can narrowly segment that, and I'll make that a little bigger there. I'm not sure it's going bigger there. So this is what I use to track my clients. Now, here's what I use in Infusionsoft when I want to track my fan base. 2 different things. One is my client list, and one is my fan base. And what I'm showing here, basically, this is an email campaign that I set up, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me go back to what I was saying. But I just want to give you a taste of that. Those are the tools I use for building my business. So let me get back on track here. So 1 is client list versus community list. Point number 2, frequently being in touch with my clients without selling them. So that's why I have 2 different lists. For my fan base, it's the tips and knowledge that Ramon shared, the insights, things like that, building my tribe. But for my client list, that's the stuff I'm sharing with them. For example, my last email was like this. I advise my 500 clients who are PR people and marketers. I had an email, are you building your own studio for 2021? For us, that may not mean anything, but I shared with them knowledge. They ate it up. This is Dell and Microsoft, AT&T. They're not having events in 2021. It's not going to happen for them. They're too much risk for them. So I encourage them, are you building your own in-house studio? I got back emails from people saying, Ramon, thanks on all this. Now guess who's going to be standing on the stage in those new studios? Ramon. Not all the time, but you get what they see the difference in play. The community list, hey, inspire them. Good morning, I'm drinking my coffee. How are you? Did you exercise? That's for my community. Thousands of people who follow me on Smart Hustle. But for the 500 people who are my clients, I have a separate email list for them. And that's where I share knowledge of speaking, knowledge of online events, knowledge of virtual events, how to make their jobs better, because I want them to always think of Ramon. I had an email, make sure you have a great MC for your next event. Who do you think I want them to hire as their MC? Me. So, but it was 80% good knowledge, 20% little self-promotion there. So let me move on. So, are you advising them, helping them with their problems? And then, as I said already about Zoho, I'm using last 2 points in this. Going back to contact tools. By the way, I'm curious, how many here have a good system to manage your clients and know exactly who they are, draw up a list of them? Okay, few of you, good. So what I do, just sharing tools, Zoho CRM is one. Infusionsoft is okay, but I think it's better for big scale, thousands of people. Other thing you can do is just even Google Contacts. It's not the best, but the key is as long as you're tagging. And what I do, every new client for every year, I tag, and I'd love to learn if there's a better way. I put client 2020. So that means this year I know who was anybody who paid me for 2020. And next year, I'll start it over again. That's just how I do it. If there's a better way, I'd love to hear it after the break maybe. But for me, because I don't need to know particularly who was my client in 2016. That I can put into an all-encompassing client file. They've already been in there, and that's a part of a different sequence. But I do want to know who my hot clients are for this year. Those are the ones who are getting the $70 cutting board. Like you guys may have seen my Facebook post. Some of you have seen it. So moving on, the last part of this, Kim, this is the second part of this, and then we can have that break, is finding new clients and keeping the ones you have. And this leads to what I'll talk about after the break. Yes, you can do direct sales, cold calling, pitches, and things like this. You can do that to generate more business. But I find this aspect of building community is what has worked for me. And that's what I'll talk about at length after the break. But what I want to do is pause a minute and maybe I'd be curious, feel free to unmute yourself, as you speak. Who here does cold calling, pitches, the association? I think there's a nice association list. Who has found that helpful? Anybody on that? Or maybe just raise hands. Okay, good. Alana's done that, some good. And I've never done it yet, but I'm tempted. And then who has it been mainly word of mouth? I would suspect a lot of it's word of mouth. Good, okay. And then who here has unsolicited people come to them via SEO or social or any other method? And okay, Karen, good. Karen, Rob, good. Okay, and Aja, good. Okay. I was just curious. I'm doing this also to learn for myself. But that's one thing I haven't done yet is the cold calling or the association route. What I know, Sean in Orlando, I think he had a system where he was doing that pretty well. So let me pause here and do ask, don't lie, please. This wasn't techie stuff, but was this helpful at all? And if it wasn't, it's okay. You can put a thumbs down like the guy did in Gladiator. I don't mind. But was this useful? Good. So Kim, with that, thank you. I'm going to turn this back to you. And and the next part I'll just preface that, Kim, is that what I want to dive into more is what I call the celebrity CEO concepts. It'll be more technical, how I'm using social media, talk about email marketing, about how I produce my own events, producing your own show. I'm going to dive into some of my power tools that I'm using. That's kind of what I'll do in this, as it were, second half, if that's helpful. So Kim, it's all yours.
Awesome. Can we give Ramon just a great round of applause? He's not leaving with what we have so far. It's been amazing. I have a ton of questions that I want to ask, but it's totally self-serving, so I'm going to do it offline. We're going to take a break for about 15 minutes, get some coffee, grab some water, use the restroom, walk your dog. And I also think that Jackie is going to lead us in a social media moment. Is that right, Elena? Or is it Rob? Oh, no, Karen. Oh, yay, it's Karen. So I'm going to turn it over to Karen, and then when we finish this piece, it's brief, but we need to do it so that people can know what a great time we're having at our chapter and how amazing Ramon is to be here with us this weekend before Thanksgiving. He could have said no, it was too close to the holiday. So who knew he was going to be on lockdown in New Jersey, right? We just kind of lucked out. So, but no, we appreciate him, and we want to make sure that we share it. Karen? You're muted. You're muted, Karen. You're muted, Karen.
So sorry. Hey, everybody, go down to reactions, put a heart up, put some sort of reaction, and let me just take a real good, or smile really big. I want to have a really cute picture here. Okay, 1, 2, yeah, I love that, Ramon. Thank you. Got it. Took a screenshot. Thank you, guys. Love this. I love this. I have like 20 pages of notes.
I love this. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Sometimes we break out in the rooms, but we're going to give you a chance to move around. It's 10:06. We'll come back at 10:20. All right, so we're ready to get back started. Is everybody ready? I think we're all back. Ramon, we'll turn it back over to you. This is awesome.
All right. Thank you all so much. Good to be here again. Yeah, no, I feel good. It's good to be here. And thank you all for the support, the smiles, the nods. And again, feel free, mute yourself or take your camera off. You got to walk around. It's all good. This is being recorded. So if you can't stay, I just do want to say that because I know it can be a little uncomfortable. Oh, I can't stay. I got to run. No problem at all. No problem. Happy to share. Even if it's just me and Karen smiling at each other. I'll do that. It's fine too. All right. So let's dive back into it. I left off by talking about the aspect of how to find new clients and keep the ones you have. There's the direct sales approach, pitches, cold calling. Oh, let me type this in here. Or, of course, a word of mouth. So I'm going to give you these notes, remind me of that too. And that works. Many of us do that. But I've really found that this aspect for me, this concept of celebrity CEO, of nurturing your fan base, building your community, and educating them to a sale, I found for me that works best. So let me dive into some of these celebrity CEO principles. And again, it's not rocket science. It's really personal branding, but this is kind of my methodology, what I call it, and how I do it. So I think one is the aspect of, are you well known in a particular market? So that's one thing to ask yourself and how that works. And for example, for me, I'll use myself as an example because it's just easiest for me. My market so my clients are large companies who have big budgets to reach small businesses. That's my market. I'm not in leadership. I'm not a Brian Walter entertainer. I mean, I am to a degree, but not like that. I don't try to do leadership training like many here. I'm not the media trainer like Kim. Follow what I mean? This is not my thing. I don't claim to be the geek person, whatever, like Alana May. I say it metaphorically. That's not. My handle is small business inspiration. That's my small, very narrow slice. Tony, it's not Tony Robbins. He does something different and bigger. It's not Gary Vee. So that's my world. So what you have to ask yourself, this aspect of being the celebrity CEO concept is that, am I well known either in my region? Now it could be I'm the best known, medical person, like in Jennifer's case in Houston. Just having some fun here, with the variety of people here, okay? Or Kelly could say, I'm the best well-known person nationally though for this segment. And that's for me. So my market's not New Jersey and New York. My market in the US, I'm in a certain market segment. So that's the concept I want you all to consider as we take this further. So that's one. Two, I think the other aspect is to ask ourselves, what are we doing to build the community and educate the community over time to a sale? And as I often say, I would rather have a smile before a sale. Let's take 12 people, whatever it is on this call right now. If everybody's smiling, everybody likes me, everybody's in my fan base, no money yet, no money. It's easier to get that. If I ask Randy, Jackie, Rob, whoever it is, Deidre, for a dollar, Deidre's may say no, right? She may, Ramon, I'm going to give you $1. But if I say, can I have a smile? No problem. No threat. Doesn't cost me much. Now, over time, I can get her to buy something from me. So I think you'll understand that, but I just want to understand that's my philosophy, and it's worked for me. I would rather have, as you see on this example I showed you with Zoho, 560, count them. That's the number. And there could be more, but that's my target audience. And half of that 560 are agencies. The other half are the actual vendors. So in that list of names of companies, it could be only 100. That's my addressable client base that I've mentioned over and over again. SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft, Verizon. That's it. Now I could grow it, be a bigger company. But for me to earn the money I want for my family, that's all I need to worry about. And so I'm well known to them. Seth Godin had a great article. I think it's something like well known to your cousin. And something like that where he mentioned, all we have to do is be popular to our uncles, our cousins, our moms and dads. We don't have to be famous to the world. So let me move on from there because I can talk about that concept all day. So building a community to educate people to a sale over time. And then the concept of smiles before a sale. So the other point, part of this concept of personal branding or being the celebrity CEO is the power of niche. And again, this goes back to what I'm saying is that sometimes we struggle so much to be known by everybody, where I would dare say it takes too much time, too much energy to be known by everybody. How much does it take to run for president? $1 billion, Barack, Donald Trump, Biden and others have put, as it were, right into being a president. Billion, I think it's $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion or so dollars. A lot of money. But it takes a lot less money and time to be known to a niche group of people. And as I've already said, I'm well known to large companies who market to small businesses. And the other thing that I want to talk about how I do this, and one reason why this works also is the power of self-promotion. When I move to the next section, I'm going to talk about how I'm doing this, the specifics of it. But I want to give you high level. It's building a community to convert to sales. Well known to a niche audience, and either being well known in a region, in Houston, broad, or well known to a market segment. So here's an example of one thing. I got to move my position of my mic here, keep hitting it. So is the aspect, I want to show you one thing here, the art of self-promotion. Let me show this slide up real quick. Yeah, so I was on a call. I interviewed Lori Grenier of Shark Tank, and this is an example, Kim, of what my team does for me. So this is just, again, the slide is not that important, but I think some of these slides are good to crystallize what I mean. I interviewed Lori Grenier. I could have just let it go at that. But no, and you see, remember I said Nick Cannon before, right? I'm a name dropper, and it's about Ramon in a humble way, hopefully. It's just selling myself. I am the asset. Everybody knows Lori Grenier. I want to attach myself to her. So what did my team do? We now have about 6 videos we put together, small little clips with me and Lori Grenier. And you'll see those released over the next few weeks, where her laughing, her saying things. I'm going to blog about it. Ramon and Lori Grenier share XYZ. So that's an example of what I mean of when I say the aspect of converting, that the idea is converting your talks into social stories, or the art of self-promotion. So that's a tip that all of you can do. All of you are interviewed by people to some degree. All of you are sharing things. Let that stuff go wider. I think Guy Kawasaki or Jay Baer says it, talks about planting seeds. So that's just a tip, and I'm going to dive into that more as we go along, but I just wanted to share that with you. This is one thing that I do very well as I'm on this journey of being the celebrity CEO in my market, self-promotion. So I'm curious, how many of you are a little leery of promoting yourself? I know you need to market yourself, but how many don't like kind of me, look at me? Yeah, right. So all y'all, Kim, Kelly, Robin, Deirdre, get used to it.
Yeah.
Get used to it. Okay, Rob, I want you to stand in the mirror tonight. Oh, look at me. It's Robbie coming to Shining Sea. Okay, Rob, I want you to do that tonight, and you have to show Kim. Okay?
Hey, Ramon.
Yes.
And this is something that what you're saying is exactly what I would tell a client. And one of my challenges has been, and I'm working through it, because most of my career I've been a journalist where the story was about other people. So it's a shift for me. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on, right? Because I know the days are different. And so that's my challenge. It's not that I feel but it's like, okay, no, it was always a story about everyone else.
Right.
And now I've got to change it.
No, for sure. Thank you
for the reminder.
You're welcome. And I'll say, Kim, and others, one way to do that, I want to have the balance. I'm not saying to do it, a lot of the fashionistas on Instagram, oh, look at my nails. And I don't know why I put the California voice for all of them, but look at my nails, or I'm doing my hair, or, oh, am I too fat? And they only weigh 97 pounds. I'm not talking about doing that. So Rob, I don't want you to be like, I'm a hot baby. No, don't do that, Rob. But my point is, so what I'm trying to say, though, is, Rob, is you can do it, hopefully, the way I'm doing it is artful and humble. I hope it is, with me and Lori. You follow what I mean? So, hey, this is Rob. I just interviewed John of this local car wash. John said he had to fire 2 employees. Here's what he told me, blah, 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 blah. So this is Rob, your leadership trainer. That's the way to do that, kind of, as it were, metaphorically, in an artful way. Where you can, it's you're the face, you're getting yourself out there, but you can still bring others along. So, but I think you'll get that point, so let me move on from there. But the art of self-promotion, and one of the tips is converting your slides into a talk show. Into articles and social stories as well. We're going to get into that in a minute. Free speaking. I do want to touch on free speaking. Listen, a lot of the speaking I do is free. Friends, family, anybody calls me, and some people say, Ramon, it diminishes your brand. I'm going to think about that, because they could have a point. Maybe I should make myself less accessible. But that anybody on here, I get all that, Ramon, I'm having a speaker summit, blah, 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 blah. Can you speak? Yes. The reason I do it, because I don't think there's any, unless you're doing something wrong, I don't think there's any bad publicity. So I thought about, should I make myself less accessible? I'm going to be the Oprah and I need to say no to all these people. But for me, I don't know. I just found that the more I say yes to people, I have more content. So I'm building a library, because it's one thing where I'm saying it to myself, I'm putting my camera and doing something, but man, let's say that Jackie's interviewing me for a series or something, or Kelsey is, or whoever it is, or Joshua, that means I have more content that I can come to life. You know what I mean? Because if Kelly asks me, Ramon, tell us how you started out, and I'm talking to Kelly and sharing it with her, it sounds different than me saying it over and over again. So my point is, that's why I say yes to a lot of these things. Yeah, I want money. I want to be paid. But I have a separate market, as I've shared, the big brands. That's where I get my money. But my peeps, Kim, whoever it is, Ramon, Paul, come on this podcast, come on this seminar, join me here. Usually it's yes. And two, I think it was Mark's point. Yeah, if Kim's pulling in some dollar bills and she's like making bank, yeah, Kim, don't tell me you don't have any money. I just saw you won the $1 million award. That's not cool. but you get my point. So let me move on from there. But really, that's why I say yes to a lot of these things, because then I say, hey, listen, Deirdre, can I please have the video? Or, Alice, thanks for letting me be with you today. Did you transcribe this? Could I get those notes too? And I won't use them the same week. I'll let her take that. But, after a few weeks, I'd like to use it, So I just want to address that free. That's why I do that. And the last point in this, and I'm going to dive into some social media stuff. The last point of this, I will say, design is important. I don't know the numbers. But as some of you may have seen my Facebook post where I've reached out and said, hey, let's talk if you're hurting or if I can help, or just a chat. I put a post on Facebook. I've had so many one-on-ones with speakers, not consulting at all, just talking, just chatting, 15-minute meeting, just saying hello. Because, I don't know why. I like to say hi to people, especially my fellow speakers. I learn. But one thing I've learned, and some of them have asked me for help, in the area that I do, marketing's my expertise, as it were. That's what I do well. But I've looked at the websites, and I'm sorry to say, many are old and dated. Now, I know some of you, your websites are pretty modern and new. I took a peek at Karen's site. If it was bad, by the way, I wouldn't say it. So I wouldn't mention her name. So I took a peek at her site. Her site is good. And I didn't take a peek at anybody else's website. But some of your sites, and let's see. Maybe if you want to raise your hand. Do you know that your website is old, like it's been 10 years old, hasn't been updated? Maybe all of you have more modern. So, okay, yeah. So Kim's admitted it. And Alice, so the cobbler's shoes, right? So my point is that that's something we all struggle with. Kim, go ahead.
So fortunately for me, the person who built Karen's site is working on my site. So I'm going to have a fancy site soon. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Good. Yeah. So good point. I'm glad. It's good to share, because why, Kim, why have another headache? Karen said she already used the guy or gal. She's happy. Honey, here's some money. Do mine too. Make it different. Make it better than Karen's, but do mine too. But seriously, I've been to many speaker sites, and I'm not saying that's the only thing, but I do want to touch on this. Going back to this is the last high-level concept of being the celebrity CEO is design. Seth Godin, when I first looked to launch Smart Hustle magazine, now it's no longer a printed magazine, but I had a vision to do a printed magazine 5 years ago. Seth and I were at an event in a behind the stage, and he said, Ramon, how are you? And I said, Seth, what's your one advice? And Seth is a storyteller. He said, Ramon, when Fast Company magazine was launched, the one thing they invested a lot in, and some of you may know it because if you read Fast Company back in the day, is design. It looked different. It was bigger, right, Alice? It was bigger than others, the big, bold covers, right? We remember that. So my point is that I beg you all, if there's one thing you do, and this goes back, I can't remember if it was Kim or whoever's talking about my designer. This is why I have a designer. I don't know how you think this looks, the one of me and Lori, but the point is that your website, I bet a third or more of NSA speakers, their website is dated. It looks old. You can smell that it was done in Microsoft front page, or worse, it was done in WordPress by themselves. Now, if you don't have money, I get it. But I'm telling you, you guys can have a look at RamonRay.com right now if you want. I think it looks pretty darn good. And if any of y'all say it doesn't look good, I'm going to go check your temperature right now. But that's just me. I built it on Wix. And ignore the typos, please. But I'm teasing. But the point is, I refreshed it on Wix just a few weeks ago. I think it looks pretty good. And so maybe it could be better. But the point is I'm making, whether you're hiring somebody, as Karen did, because to get some ninja stuff, it's better to hire somebody. It's better to give somebody money to get it done. But for me, I'm investing money in some other things. So I said I want to go up a level, and I use Wix. So my point is that, but be careful, because if you don't have an eye for design, people can smell that you're doing your website yourself, and it will look bad. So I think enough on that, but my encouragement to all of you, look good, look legit, invest and lighting and all those things. Oh, and I must say colors. I see Aja's shirt. I must say, when you take those colors, those shirts, this blue, it pops. I was in an event, a Black Enterprise event, in fact. All the other dudes, what do we have? Our usual blue suits and our, we're drab, Rob, right? We got our blue suits and our typical white shirt and red tie. I had on this and my orange, my kind of standard, my public photos. It stands out. So another thing, as you're thinking of it, or Atlanta has her nice pink, whatever color it is shirt. Things like that, my point for all of you, when you take your next headshots and stuff, put on stuff that pops. It stands out because when they put you in those little collages of speakers, Aja's shirt, it'll stand out. I don't know who she is, don't care, but the eyes we're scrolling, we're going to just look a little closer. So do that. Okay.
Big believer in color. It's very
What's that, Aja?
Yeah. I said I'm a big believer in color when presenting because it just, like you said, it pops.
It does. Exactly. Yeah, it's very important for sure. And you can see Jackie's still shot of her blue stands out. So again, it's not about being fashion, although Randy's jacket and her visual does look very nice. I don't know if she's a fashionista or not, but the point is that, anyways, let me move on before somebody says, why didn't you call on me? Okay. So that's that. Now moving into kind of phase 2, point number 9, I guess it were, of diving into some social media things. And this is more the tactics. I hope this is helpful because before I wanted to share over the non-tactical, the softer side of things that I found what it is to be a good speaker. But this aspect of celebrity CEO, what has helped me. So my computer just froze. Okay, good. So harness social media to build your brain. Now, social media for sure, it has a lot of noise. I agree. And I'm talking to those of you who are a bit angst or against or a bit gnarly, whatever word. Well, let me ask, anybody here on the call, not against social media, but like it's been a tough area for you? Anybody like Ramon, I struggle? Okay, good. Okay, few people. And don't worry, Aja, the rest of people are lying. They're just too shy to say it. So don't worry. So social media has a lot of noise. But I also found social media, indeed, it is a highly, highly powerful way to build your brand, to build trust, and more. And going back to this thing that I shared, right? Build the community, educate them, build trust, and nurture them to a sale. For me, I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but I found that social media is a great way to do that. Because what are we trying to do on social media? What are the 2 things we're trying to do? Or in general, A, we need to build trust. First, rather, attention, right? Like this bell, right? People have to know that we're around. And more particularly, people have to know that we have a problem that we can solve for them. So the attention's important. If I can't get Jackie's attention or Karen's attention, whoever's attention, game's over. But the second part of attention, and this is a page right out of Seth Godin's material, stealing his thought leadership on this, is trust. These are the 2 things, the 2 currencies we have, attention and trust. And even if people don't buy from you right now, if I have more attention and more trust than Kim has, all things being equal, I will kick her butt all day long, all day. And I say that, respectful way, of course, Kim. So my point is that this is what we're fighting for, attention and trust, because we're in a competitive market. And especially where all things are equal, leadership's a small world. So 2 or 3 of you are fighting to get into the big client's account. Well, Kim has been on their email list already. Kim's been interviewing their people already. Kim's done all these things. She has the edge. So attention and trust, that's what I find social media is a great tool for. So a few of the tools that I use are tactics, as it were, on social media, I think, that have been very important to me. One, and this is, some of you know this already, but I must say hashtags I find are important. It sounds old school, for those who don't know, the tic-tac-toe symbol, but I'm telling you, on Instagram, hashtags and on Twitter work well. And there's 1,000 different things I could say. I'm not going to dive too deep into social media, but that's one thing that's helpful of many things, hashtags. 2, and I've mentioned this already, but good images. And I've said this for the 3rd or 4th time now, but it's important. And there's 2 kinds of good images to have. You can have a good professionally designed image, right, of you, and it's your designer has done it, or you can do things like, for example, let me see if I can bring it. I'm not going to take the time to find it because it's one of those things when you're looking to find it on a live call, you can't find it and it eats up time. But the point is, you know what I'm saying, Alana. But when the images I take, for example, don't just take a shot of this mug, just the black mug like this. I take the shot like this. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say. Or my hand on it. It sounds a bit weird, but even if it's not professionally done, let your imagery be a bit different. Have your face in it. Have your hand in it. Have the glitter of your ring in it. Do something different. And I tell my wife that all the time. She makes wreaths, and she takes just a picture of a wreath. But I'm like, Ronnie, put your hand in it, put your face in it, whatever it is. So I just want to leave that small social tip with you. I'm not going to dive deep into everything about social media. Thank you, Rob. But those are a few things that work for me. And the third tip on social media, I'm telling you, video, video, video. How many here regularly put any kind of video on any platform on a regular basis? Karen does. Okay, good. Some of you, good. Aja and Kim. Aja went like this. She went like this. Then she went like this. She was like, let me not lie on this call. Exactly, Alana. So, but the point is, video is important and powerful, and it has helped my business. And in fact, if you want, I don't know, we don't have to do it, but I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to, let's see, where should I do it? I was going to say, if you want, you have another tab. I'm just going to go to my Facebook page real quick. If it's helpful, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to spend just 2 seconds there. Facebook.com/Ramon Ray. And I'm just going to go through to the video tab in your videos or Ramon's videos. Yeah, and you can see so many of the videos I've put there. Many are not polished. Many are just me, talking, but it's just to show you or give you hope, as it were, a little inspire you that video is important. So I'm not saying you have to do it like me. There's different ways to do it. I'm going to share some other tools in a minute, but I do encourage you, video, video, video. Or you saw today, I took a short video of us on the call today. I'm going to share that out to my Instagram story. So and video is important because I think that, as I said, it humanizes and personalizes our brand. And when people are just, now, there's negatives to video too. We got race, we got implicit bias, all these things that some of you do for a living that you all, teach much better than me. So I'm not going to go there, but I know for me, I'll just say video works. Video works. So I encourage us all to consider how we do that. And then the last thing I'll touch on a bit is stories. These are the short, lasting for 24 hours only. Now, it's a race. Instagram has stories. Facebook has stories. As some of you know, LinkedIn launched stories, 30 days ago or so at the top, right? And Twitter Fleets just launched 10 days, or I can't remember the time frame, short time ago. So all 4 major platforms now have stories. Tell you the truth, I thought I had it figured out. I don't. Yeah, I don't think anybody does, and I don't know what to do. But one thing I'll say why I like stories, those who are your ardent followers, I think they will click it more often. 2, it puts your face at the top of your followers' feeds. So if you're producing consistently good content, at least your face is there. And the good thing about LinkedIn, you can see who's following you more. So don't stalk too much. Ladies, y'all know you don't like the guy knocking on your door. Hi, I've been watching you for a month. I just wanted to knock on your door. No. Don't do that to people on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn isn't nice to know, like in me and Atlanta's case. 10 SAP employees have watched my LinkedIn story. Metaphorically, you feel what I'm saying. So I find that stories are something that I would consider. How many of you have done stories of any consistent length? Anybody done? Okay, Kim, okay. Yeah, so a few of you, I'd consider it. Yeah. And don't worry, Deidre, you're forgiven. You can be absolved. You confessed your sins here, so we forgive you. You can start tonight. Don't worry about it. But stories can be good to try again, because since it's so short and it goes away, and I've been playing, and also one thing I measured is which one's working better. I've been going Instagram for a long time because one of my nieces, she's like an R&B executive. She's like, Uncle Ramon, you need to build up your Instagram followers. So she pissed me off last year, and I've been doing it. But I realized my biggest following is on Facebook. So I'm playing with what works, but that's the other nugget I want to leave you is consider stories. And the only other thing I don't have the answer for this, but I'm speaking out loud of what I'm hypothesizing on. For LinkedIn in particular, I find that many people are doing LinkedIn stories like they would Instagram, putting their food, picture their kid, images. I don't know if that's the best thing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but LinkedIn has some serious busy business people, right? Our clients are there. So I don't know if I'd have a picture of my son, me tying my shoe, tired. On LinkedIn stories, I've done it more infrequent. I've done a lot of selfies giving tips or knowledge or something that's a bit more highbrow or a bit more businessy. That's me. I'm not saying it's right, Rob, and I see your nod there, Rob, but we're all figuring it out, right? So maybe in 6 months, Randy, we can all come back together and figure out what's right. But for the other platforms, I don't know what to say, but LinkedIn stories, I think it could be a hidden asset because especially that I could see Alibaba. Consistently, I'm seeing Alibaba executives following my LinkedIn stories. Hello? Billion-dollar Chinese company. So you can make the triangulation on that. Moving on. I have a little note here looking at Ramon's social platforms. I'm not going to do that now. Y'all can go there yourself. But again, I think I do social media relatively well. I'm going to put those links just in the chat. Again, no need. Half of you already follow me. So this is not about me, but as you want to check that as we're talking, it could be useful. And again, I don't have it perfected, but I think that with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, the 4 tools that I use quite a bit, I think it may, those of you especially new, you may glean something. I don't know what you'll glean, but if you look at, here's how Ramon's doing it, could be. And the other reason I think it works is consistency. Now, I don't do this every single morning, but generally speaking, when I wake up in the morning, I put an Instagram story out. I have a good number of people watching it, and it's developing some loyalty. And going back to the example of SAP, when that lady said, Ramon, I know you eat pancakes and bacon on the weekends. We need you. That meant something, right? I don't know what it means. I don't have the science to prove it. But if an executive like that stalked me that much to know what I eat for breakfast, that means she's hunting for us, isn't she not? She's hunting for all of us. And how do we show up to her? And now that's me. The next person may not want a Ramon. They may want a Kim. Next person may not want a Kim. They may want an Aja. You feel what I mean? So we all have our how we are. But I have to be me, and hopefully I can telegraph that to people. So let's move on. Time goes by so fast. So next thing I want to touch on a bit is email marketing. It's been a really, really big, powerful, and I'm going to show some images here of how I'm using email marketing in my business. Email marketing has been pretty powerful for me. I've done email for over 20 years in a variety of different ways. So I'll just touch on a few high-level points. So one, I want to acknowledge email is filled with spam. For sure. And just a reminder, feel free anytime. I wasn't pausing enough. Unmute yourself and just call my name twice or so, and I'll hear you and we'll pause, and feel free to give a tip. Preferably, though, a question, something to chat about, clarifying. Happy to do it while we're going. So I say call my name because there's a different lag, as y'all know. So if you say, Ramon, I'll hear you. Okay, so email is filled with spam, and we are overwhelmed with email. This is for sure. Granted, I give you that. But I still feel, in my opinion, what my wife will tell you is wrong most of the time, it's a great way to communicate. I still feel email works. Now, if you're getting a 1%, 2% open rate, that's a problem. For me, I'll be full disclosure. My rates are between 15, 20%, depends. And part of that is because Infusionsoft, MailChimp, other tools, and I'm not selling Infusionsoft. I used to work for them, but there's many great platforms. So don't get stuck up on the platform. The platform is really secondary. It's not so important, really. Some people will swear you got to use Carta or other good tools. But the tool, at some level, they all do certain things well, especially if you hire somebody to do it. But let me get back on track here. So where was I at? Yes, but email is a great way to communicate with people, and the open rates are important. So here's what I find is 2 things that have worked for me with email. And we all know this, but if it helps to remind you of what we need to do. 1, I find that the subject line of that email is so important. And thank you, Alice, for that affirmation. And things like, to me, it could be 3 ways to speak better, or you could get a little personal. I'll show you what I do in a minute here. Ramon's wife yelled at him, what he learned. For my audience, they love this. Some of you may be on my email list. I don't know. But the point is, I have 2 types of email. The business core, where I'm sharing about business, how to use Twitter, how to lead better, things like that. And I get a little personal. My son made me cry today. What did I learn? My community, my fans like that from Ramon. So that's a little tip on email marketing, how that works for me. I think that email marketing also, it keeps you at the front and the center of your community. So here's how I do my email. I'll show a few things. So for me, every Thursday at 2 p.m., I have an email that goes out called Ramon's Insights. It's where I just get a little personal, and I'll share how I do that in a minute. Really, what I think is a ninja trick, probably the biggest ninja trick you'll hear all weekend long. That's my guess. All half a Saturday long. Maybe even only this minute. We'll see. So every Thursday, 2 p.m., I send out an email called Ramon's Insight. Now, that email, and again, I would show slides, but I'm not. Y'all can feel free to tab to it later or now. But that email, you access it a few places. So one is my newly done website, RamonRay.com. I'll get a little ninja with you here, a little geeky with you here. Before I had a button on Wix that made you go to a separate landing page to sign up for the email because Wix doesn't have great integrations like WordPress does. WordPress has really great integrations. Wix is still a bit of a closed platform. But what I did via a Zapier tool, Z-A-P-I-E-R, half of you may know it, but Zapier, Z-A-P-I-E-R, helps you integrate stuff. I see Kelly knows it, right? So Zapier is a good tool that people could put their name in my RamonRay.com box that automatically syncs them to Infusionsoft. So I'm not going to go to the detail. You can ask me offline. It's not hard. Anybody can do it. So, but I'm just giving you, because I know for me, I like when speakers give me the behind the scenes. So that's how I do that. Because I wanted, as I upgraded, I wanted to have a nice little cool box on Wix, the Wix powered site, but I was tired of having it a double click. But through Zapier now, it's integrated. So that's just a tip there, how that works on RamonRay.com. So RamonRay.com has it. And then on SmartHustle.com, there's a little box you'll see there too on SmartHustle.com, and that's done with a regular WordPress integration directly with Infusionsoft. So that's kind of how I do my email list, and that's for, remember before I talked about Zoho CRM. Zoho has my potential clients. And for Kim and the other podcasters out there, what I do, anybody who emails me a press release, anybody who asks me to be interviewed, I now have a right, I'm taking that right to add you to my list. You reached out to me. So that's, Kim, how I begin to build up this database of 560 of my target market, because all the PayPals of the world are emailing me. Ramon, can you interview us for smarthustle.com? All of them, Kim, all of them. So I steadily, hey, I can cover you, can't cover you. I'm not interested in this, or I am. And let me rephrase that. Not only have you contacted me, but if I've replied back to you, because I don't reply back to people, hey, Ramon, we have a tobacco company. Can you cover us? You obviously don't know what my beat. So you didn't take the time to even understand. You follow what I mean? So I don't reply to them. But if it's for a company that I can say, hey, we're not covering this today, you go to my list. So I just wanted to repeat that. My Zoho CRM, highly curated. I don't do it automated. I'm dropping science to my potential clients. That's very special. Then I have my Infusionsoft powered list of my fan base. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute. But I'm just sharing with you, that's how I do it. 2 different, very special lists. Okay, so moving on. Okay, here. And then every Sunday evening at 3 p.m., and the time doesn't matter, by the way, I'm just sharing with you my playbook. Every Sunday evening, I send an email out which compiles the latest blog post from smarthustle.com. So Thursday's email goes out. It's my insights of that week, just life and Ramon. And then Sunday evening is a summary of more of the business insights from smarthustle.com, if you follow what I mean. So why I do it, I don't know. this is what I'm doing. So we'll see if it works. But I think part of the reason is because on Smart Hustle, people can get that socially and et cetera. But, via social media, they can, but I was like, you know what? People are not getting everything I'm putting on Smart Hustle, because I had a choice, right? So, well, I'm digressing. Let me get back on track. Okay, so let me show my screen. And here's what I do in Infusionsoft. And I hope I can explain this good, but I'm going to leave it to Kim or Alana to ask me questions if I don't explain this well. That's why everybody has sisters, right? So here we go. I think you can see my screen. So if it's not big, forgive me. Let me see if I can make this bigger on your side. Oh, yeah, I can. Good. So here's the deal. And I hope it's not, those who are on my list, I hope I don't make you, oh, that's what he's doing? My emails are pre-written. Okay, so shocker. Let's say this email that says Ramon's wife was right. If y'all can see that in the top left here, Ramon's wife was right. So let me give you the history. So we all know email newsletters. We all write them. Many of us do it manually. Kim wakes up today. She stubs her toe. Ooh, let me write in this week's email newsletter. Kim stubbed my toe. What I learned about being at peace. You get what I'm saying, right? We all do that email newsletter. She writes that today. But Karen, what Kim wrote today about stubbing her toe is useful for Rob, who signed up for her email list next year. Why is Rob not getting that? You see what I'm, so y'all, if y'all understand, well, good. If anybody doesn't understand, I'll say it again, but you get my point. So this is a campaign I have, and it's a longer campaign. I have now dozens of these that I got kind of from Brendan Burchard. Ramon's wife was right. Wait at least 3 days, run on Thursday. Stop hiring VAs. Phone call person, leap versus luck. You can see some of the subject lines. I'll make a little bigger for you there. So you see what I mean? So what I do when I have an idea, that goes to the end of this campaign. So I don't know if it's the best way, but that means someone who signs it today, they're getting the nugget I could have written 6 months ago. So I hope it's not underwhelming. But the nuggets I'm sharing are evergreen. They're timeless. So that's what I do. And I go back and edit this. I may edit it now. The other trick, in Infusionsoft, there's something called merge fields. And again, other tools have this too. So I want to be clear. I say that only because, I'm not selling it. But the point is that Infusionsoft has merge fields. So if I want to announce a special event I'm doing next week, I can add a little note to the merge field. Every version of this email that's going out Thursday at 2 p.m., people will see that little ad. Does that kind of make sense? So I have a merge field that can still be relevant. I can say Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah closer to Christmas or the holidays. You follow what I'm doing, and put it in the email list. Let me pause there. Does that kind of make sense what I'm trying to say? I think it's ninja, but the bottom line is, instead of just doing manual emails, one and done in constant contact, Karen's written, what I learned about patience while eating soup. Karen, that can be useful for the next year or two. You don't have to put it today. You don't have to say it's May 7th. Take all that out. But now you can be ahead of the rat race of emails. So let me pause. Questions, thoughts, comments. If not, it's good. But I just want to make sure I was clear in that what I think is a cool tip.
So I do have a question, Ramon.
Please.
With this system, so it requires some sort of a system. So what you're saying is you create evergreen content, and when people come into your world, into your community, they start at the beginning. Right. And it's set up so that it feeds. It's like a cycle.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay. Every Thursday at 2. So, and again, at some point, I probably have to start deleting or refreshing the cycle because, this could get 1,000 miles long. But yeah, so I have to think about that, and somebody else can help me with that. But for today, because what was happening, Kim, was that I kept, as we all probably understand what I mean, the rat race of new content. Yeah. But then it hit me. Why am me and my wife, pardon me, excuse me for burping. I just learned how to listen to my wife better. And that taught me to listen to my clients better. That knowledge can last for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think it's great. It's a great idea. And so it really requires a certain system, whether it's Infusionsoft or whatever your CRM is, to make that happen.
Correct.
That's great. Okay. Thank you.
Kelly, I saw your body language maybe, and then Alana. Kelly,
Yeah, my question is, does the actual content live on your website and you're just pushing it out through Infusionsoft, or is everything living somewhere else? So if I don't come into your newsletter first, but I'm hunting around your site, am I going to get the same content there?
Great question. Kelly, you're going to have to buy a seatbelt, because I have another ninja trick to show you, which is directly related to that. So this one only lives on email, just like you would use. I'm saying constant contact because most of us know that, or MailChimp, whatever. This only lives there. I just go to Infusionsoft, type it in. It's not on the web. Now, it could be, because some of my things like this, Kelly, I could have been on Facebook, like say the one that says Ramon's wife was right. Man, me and my wife just had an argument. I didn't listen to her. And next thing you know, I should have listened. I did have a flat tire. I was on the side of the road. Oh, see, I'm getting emotional. It's coming back up again. But anyways, I was on the side of the road. I should have listened to her when she told me the tire was flat, but I didn't. And we had a flat tire. That went to Facebook. But then I just thought it happened to be Kelly. Oh, you know what? That's good for my email newsletter. So there's no rhyme or rhythm to that. But in generally, it's only on email newsletter. And then remind me, I'm going to show you next after Alana, this thing that I do to automate also my blog content. But Alana, please.
I had a question for you from a client to community management standpoint. Why don't you do a segmented list in Infusionsoft? Like, what was your rationale for having them in 2 different systems?
Yeah, I find, Alana, that Now, Infusionsoft has a new product called Keep, as some of you may know. But for me in particular, Infusionsoft, the bigger tools, I felt it was too big and robust for the client. I don't know why. It's just Infusionsoft had a big dashboard and campaigns and nurturing. It was so big. I just wanted like a better version of Google Contacts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All I wanted to know was easily, who are my 20 contacts? Like, even if you use a lot, I'm sure you use complex tools. You know, like imagine being in NetSuite or SAP, one of these big tools, and they got 50 different fields. It was just too big for me to know who's the product manager at Zoho that I need to send a birthday gift to. That's the only reason why. Just fan base, I wanted, if they've done this, do that. If Alana registered for Ramon's event, then send her this. I wanted that ninja stuff for my community. But for my few clients, it's very curated. I want to know, very detailed. So that's kind of why. And also, Zoho CRM integrates with my email, so my system can see, oh, Ramon emailed client X already. I can skip talking to them. So it has more of that contact CRM functionality, if that's helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
But it can be. Both can be done. But it's just,
all this does is really validates a business decision that I made last year when I got off of Infusionsoft.
Correct.
Because it sells itself as, well, you can put everybody in there and you can segment and you can handle your clients separately. But as you and I see, I mean, it's so deep in the weeds, you can't really give your clients the attention that you want them to have.
Correct. And again, I used to work there.
But rationale was, and it sounds
and to your point, it's like almost like I would rather, in a way, for the 20 people who I love, as it were, who feed me, I'd put them in an Excel spreadsheet even. Not saying I wouldn't use Infusionsoft. It's just as an example, or HubSpot. I don't need these big tools Now, for those of you who are selling books, you got 1,000 people bought your book. Yeah, use Infusionsoft or HubSpot or other tools you want to use. But like me and Alana are saying, just to clarify, for the 10, 20 people that I need to really focus on, heck, I'd rather put them in a spreadsheet for that matter, even. So, okay. Thank you. So here we will. So now let me go to, so then I think it was Kelly. Yeah, so Kelly. So here's the thing here. The other tip I'll show you, answering the question about, I think what you kind of hinted at, Kelly. So if you want, you can tab, or those of you on phones, look at it later. I'm not going to show a screenshot of this. No, I don't need to. But smarthustle.com is where I have Ramon's blog. Smarthustle.com is my media company where I blog about my interviews. That's my engine of my content, okay? So I was thinking, how can I also share that with people? So, and there's no right way, Kelly, and people here, those listening even to the recording, this is how I do it. We can all learn from each other. But the point is, every time I post something on Infusionsoft, the bottom line, I just had no way to get it out via email sensibly. I'm kind of talking over myself because I'm not sure how to say it best. But here, let me just get to the point, Kelly, and tell you what I did. So there's a tool that I'm using called FeedBlitz, and I will show you a screenshot of this. And this is called FeedBolt. Now, this happens to be an Infusionsoft partner tool only, but you'll get the principle. So as I said, I'm repeating myself, Thursday at 2, I send the email list out about Ramon's thoughts. But I have another tool which takes the last 10 blog posts on smarthustle.com and also shares that out to everybody in Infusionsoft tagged SHM active subscriber. So that's all I wanted to share. It's not that awe-inspiring, Kelly, but that's the kind of thing. You can take your seatbelt off now. That's the kind of thing I want to just explain to you. That's the way I do it. And part of that is because now I must say, MailChimp integrates seamlessly to WordPress. It's built for it. Some of these tools are like built for it. Infusionsoft at the time just wasn't. So that's kind of why I've gone this kind of convoluted route. But I hope the lesson learned from all of you is not so much the tool that I use, but I think the lesson learned here is that with some thought and planning, there are tools to do whatever you want. I think that's the lesson learned. And I knew I wanted Ramon's thoughts to go out once a week, non-salesy, just to chill, just to reach out to my tribe and share love. Got that. But I also know that I have business knowledge for my community. That I blog about consistently, put it on Smart Hustle. I have my podcast. I do all that. So I was thinking how to marry the two. That was the high level. And if I had MailChimp or whatever, some tools can do it seamlessly. But then I just found the tool to do what I want. So I hope that's the lesson, really. How I do it, I'm happy to share all day. But for those especially newer, don't get distracted between being FeedBolt, MailChimp, WordPress. That's the second level. These are just tools. And if you ask 5 speakers what their best tool is, you'll get 5 different tools, as most of us here know. So, and that's another tip. I think any speaker that you're getting help from, that you go to and says, you have to use Squarespace, it's the best for this. You can just walk backwards 2 steps and just say you're walking backwards for COVID or something. I'd be slow for anybody who says it's the best. Now, if they say it's the best for me, here's why. Take that. But I just wanted to, just my 2 cents. I'm cautious if somebody says you have to use, HubSpot, or I think Carta. What's the name of that? Carta, I think there's some other ones, Speaker Funnel, and other tools that we may have come across. Many of these tools are good. Many of them are good. It all depends on who does it. Okay. Any more questions on that? Feel free to chime in. I'm going to move along, but feel free to ask more. Yeah. So that's that on email marketing. Now let me touch a bit into producing.
I have one question.
Please.
How has, as things always evolve, there becomes conversation where, well, email is not really that effective. So I want to know, how have your Thursday thoughts been received? Have you found it to be pretty receptive? Pretty effective?
Yeah, no, good point. I'll give 2 anecdotes. Real things, but it's not a science, but 2 anecdotal things.
Okay.
I think one is that people do unsubscribe. Not a lot, but 3 people each email. But I'm guessing if you ask anybody, that's nature of the beast. Every time you send an email out, we all unsubscribe to stuff. But the other anecdote that I am listening to, Kim, right? Like you can listen to the voice of positivity or the voice of negativity, is the emails I get back from people affirming what I'm saying. Email goes out. I was depressed today. Here's how I got out of it. 3, 4, 5, 10 emails. Ramon, thank you. Or Ramon, I was thinking that. Emails, my fridge broke, and here's what I had to do to not panic. Getting an email back from a lady just joking, saying, Ramon, my fridge broke too, or saying, Ramon, thank you. Our fridge didn't break, but my kid has autism, and I didn't know what to do. So I don't know if that helps, Kim. So that's, to me, I'm a person. Yeah, if I hear a lot of people say it, I'll pause. But saying this group, it's just Alana telling me, Ramon, I don't like your sweater. It's ugly. But the other 10 people that tell me they like it, well, Alana, like you, but I'm gonna ignore you right now. So that's kind of, if that's helpful, Kim, how I look at that.
Well, and because you're really, as you said, you're really building relationship and community, because this is not really talking about, even in a sly way, anything salesy. It's you're just sharing a thought. So I love that.
Yeah. And to your point, I'll come right to you, Karen. And to your point, Kim, the only thing I'm selling as a word, so people understand, it's 99% free love or whatever the word is, but I have the links in there, of course. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Or when my event starts, sign up to my event. So it's 80 to 90%. That's why people are joining, right? To get some of Ramon. But I have no problem putting, hey, could you click this, or my book's coming out. So that's, by the way, the point of community. Karen, please.
Well, and also, even if they don't open it, your name just came up.
Yes.
And so for me, I used to worry about who opened it, and I'm now getting that, I'm just kind of coming up with them every week.
Karen?
So it's not always the number. Sometimes it's just that implied hello.
You are so true. And I bet most of us sign up for emails that we don't open. And the other danger, Karen, which you just reminded me, Infusionsoft, MailChimp, all these tools, if people don't open your email for a while, you'll get an email, they will ding you and telling you to unsubscribe them. So that's a conundrum of a problem, because it just hit me. I've unsubscribed many people that have been inactive for like 6 months or so, and I'm doing it because we have to, or we'll get spam dinged. But to your point, Karen, yes, one client, and this only happened once to me, Karen, Symantec, the antivirus company back in the day. I think they own LifeLock now, or LifeLock bought them. The point is, so the Kim, my contact there, came to the Alana. Let's say Alana as the president of the NSA chapter. So Kim said, Alana, should we check this guy Ramon out? Should we hire him? The Alana of Symantec, you get what I'm saying, meaning the bigger boss, as it were. She said, yeah, I don't open Ramon's emails, but I've been getting his emails for years. Let's pay him the $15,000 for 15 minutes to speak and fly him back, New York to California, in one day. So it happened once only, but to your point, Karen, people don't have time to open everything, but sometimes they get it. And I saw, Rob, your thumbs up, just so they can remember who you are. I do that for competitors, for others. Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I actually spoke to Symantec, and I had a similar episode. The guy that hired me did not see my video, but his millennial wife did. And he said, so sometimes my audience might be
higher up or lower, but it doesn't really matter because they're passing your name on.
That's
so it's not always that specific person.
That's right. Yeah, thank you for that. Good stuff. So we're going to move further here, producing our events. So a few things. And I give longer talks on this. I think I have a link. Oh, yeah, here it is. Oh, I have some links I want to share. I think this is a link. This here you can download. There's no gate. It's just on. This is, I gave a presentation, I think with Crystal or some NSA thing I did for something car in Florida. Anyway, but Cynthia Carr, she's in Florida chapter. She has a mastermind. Point is, these are some slides I did also at NSA Winter with how to produce your own events and get sponsorships. So I think that link should work. If it doesn't, somebody's unmute and tell me it doesn't work, but that link should work. It's a bit.ly link. I think it works. So, but here's the bottom. So let me dive into this section then about producing your own events. Why do you want to do your own events? And by the way, let me pause here. Who has produced their own events, like a large event, okay, a few people. Okay, that's fine.
I want them to be large.
What's that?
I want them to be large.
Okay, guys, that's fine.
And the link works. I checked it. It worked.
That's cool. Good, thank you. So here's how to here's a few reasons. So one, producing your own events to build credibility. As I said before, stop waiting to be chosen and to build your community. When you do your own event, let's take Jennifer. And again, I'm going to call Jennifer. Would you call you a nurse, doctor, medical person? What can I call you? Give me a fancy title.
Medical person.
No, I want a fancier title. I'm going to call you a medical person. No, I'm just joking. Okay, medical person. So in the medical industry. My point is, let's say Jennifer's waiting to be anointed, waiting to get award certifications. Why did they choose me? I'm making this up, Jennifer, the medical world. No, and notwithstanding regulation. Forget that. But Jennifer could produce the first annual Medical Practitioners Leadership Summit. Why not? Jennifer's on stage. It's Jennifer's face on the banner. Jennifer's the one being interviewed. It's Jennifer's, you follow what I mean. So it's a silly-ish example, but this is why one reason to produce events. Jennifer doesn't have to go to the other event. Oh, hi, I'm Jennifer. Could I speak? No, Jennifer, you're not seasoned enough. Oh, could you award me? No, Jennifer, we don't know you. Hell with that. I produce my own event. I know it myself is the best. You get what I'm saying. So my point is, this is three main reasons why you want to do your own events. A, builds credibility. Stop waiting for people to choose you. And you build your community. This is why you do that. So one of the events that I did was the Survive and Thrive Summit. I'll just show you the logo here just for sake of conversation. But this is kind of a little picture of the one I did on August 20th, Survive and Thrive Summit. It doesn't show much there, but it gives you an idea. And remember I said about graphics. In my opinion, I think this graphic looks ninja good. I didn't do it. My designer did it. Anybody can go on Canva. And my first one, I went on Canva. But there's something about a professional designer. They just know, thank you, Kim. They just know how to bring it home. They just make it. That's their training. So my point is, this is an example of what I did. The example of and you can go there yourself. You may have done it already, surviveandthrivesummit.com. But the point is that I built a page. I think I told you the tools already, right? Lead pages, Eventbrite, StreamYard, all that. We had thousands of people attend it. And this is a free event with sponsors. But the point is, this is an example. Just to give you a taste, anybody can do that. And I think, as I said, good design matters. Here's another image of it you can see. I put the speakers together, made it look good, made it look delicious, made it look legit. Mike McAllowitz, right? Profit first, my bud. And other people around here. Some of the people here work for U.S. Chamber, and some of you may know Darnielle of, I forgot her last name, Darnielle Jervy, so on and so forth. So one of the ladies here worked for the Tory Burch Foundation. So part of this, of me doing events, is as follows. Anybody, have you ever been in the middle of a talk and your nose started itching real bad? Any of you ever had that happen to you? Okay, good. That happened to me just now. Like I'm going like this on my nose. I don't know, like a itching like crazy. Okay, so maybe it's the dust from this or something. So, okay. So looks so uncouth, but we're family, so y'all have to bear with me a minute. Yeah, where was I at here? Yes. Okay. So events. So images are important. That was the point I wanted to speak out to you there. Images are very, very important. And as you're looking, there's a lot of things that are important, but I'll just focus on that one thing. Images are important. And the reason why I say it, if you're trying to look legit, if you're trying to look, hey, I want to sponsor this, I want people to come, you have to put something together that make yourself look legit. It sounds like a revolving, but you just can't do, and I'm sorry, I'll just say it. I've been on many events. And again, you can smell those events. And listen, we all work hard. God bless Jennifer or Kelly or Deirdre, right? Who are trying to do it themselves. They don't have the budget, but I'm just encouraging you. This is where the risk, a little bit of extra comes in. If you want to do something that looks like a baller, you have to look like a baller. This is just a fact because people will notice it. People will definitely notice it. So that's what I did on that one. How do you make money on events? There's a few different ways you can do that. There's a few ways. 1, selling tickets. 2, getting sponsors. And 3, selling your own merchandise or products. I've been successful in doing the first 2 very well. I've sold tickets to my events, especially my in-person events. I'll be experimenting with how to charge for online events because as we all get a sense, I tell Rob to pay $4.99 to come to fly to my event. He'll pay $4.99. He'll pay $1,000 for the ticket. But online, Rob's going to be like, you want me to pay $499 for your Zoom conference? Heck no. So I'm figuring out that model of online because it is a bit different. Online, since the barrier to entry is so low, right? It's easier to do. It's hard, I find, to charge tickets for an event. But maybe I'll do an event with Biden and Trump on January 19th. And charge $1,000 for that event. See? Jennifer and Kelly are liking that. They're like, that would be an event. So we'll see. I jest. So point is that images are important. So selling tickets, getting sponsors, and or selling your own products or services. Many people who do this, the upsell, I don't think they do it well. They're too strong in how they're selling. There's one colleague, and there's many people who do this, but her name is Selena Sue. She has an event called Impacting Millions, a 3-day event about publicity. Man, I think she did a great job. I have not sat through a 3-day conference. And by the way, I paid $100, $200, $300, I can't remember dollars. Part of the reason because I wanted to follow what she did. I wanted to see how she did her stuff. And she did a pretty good job. And guess what else? She sold tickets. She had sponsors. But guess what else? She upsold it to a high-level mastermind. It worked. She had 300, 400, mostly ladies in the call. And I bet that, 10, 20, 30 of them bought. So there is money to be made in 2021, even though we're not traveling, by selling your own stuff. And the beauty of community, as some of you are looking for sponsors, you can sponsor your own stuff. Any of you heard of Seth Godin podcast, right? Seth Godin? Hey, this is Seth. Thanks for listening to Akimbo. First, we're going to have our sponsor. He has that NPR kind of voice, definitely different. I don't know why everybody they hired at NPR, why do they have to have voices like this? Hi, this is NPR. Today, 3 children were killed. Food prices are going up. And also the elections are over. Brought to you by NPR. Now for our sponsor, Mercedes-Benz. Why? That annoys me. Anyways, moving on. So I encourage you all to consider doing this. Ticket prices, getting sponsors, and selling your products and services. Now, what are some event tools that you can do as you're considering doing your own events? Some of those I've already touched on, so I'll just wrap those again because I want to touch on some other things before we close and maybe get some more questions and answers. But in some of I mentioned, events are not hard to do. One type of tool that I see you could use is a simple tool like lead pages. That's one of my favorite tools that I do for my events, lead pages. There's also a number of other event management tools you can use. Some of you may know, and I think one is called Hopin. Anybody seen that? HOP.io or Hopin. And I'm not going to even tell the name. There's so many tools you as a chapter can get together probably and come up with a list. And those tools are nice for this reason. Follow me. Let's say I'm picking Aja, Jennifer, and Jackie for my conference. They have built in speaker's name, speaker's title, and it's built just like QuickBooks for finances. They help you easily manage speakers and images. So they're good. Lead pages is not so good because it's not made for that. But I like lead pages because if you've seen the landing page of Survive and Thrive, for me, I think it looks pretty darn good. It looks pretty darn quality. So that's why I've liked lead pages, if it makes sense what I'm saying. It's just that tight, powerful looking landing page. Whereas I found the other tools like, another one called Hey Summit. Hey Summit's all right, but it just didn't look popping. enough for me. But also remember, I don't have a lot of speakers. I mean, 20 is a lot, but my events are not multi-tracked, not multi-timed. It's all one person. So that's why something like a flat page, like a lead pages or Eventbrite works. But I must say, if you're having multi-days, breakout sessions, multi-rooms, things like that, then you may want one of these event management tools better for you. So that's that. Another thing is if you're doing live or on-demand software as well. As we talk, StreamYard is all live. Some of you may want to use pre-recorded events. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But I do say pick which way you're doing it. What I don't want you to do is do an event and say it's live and really it's all pre-recorded. That's busted. That's like somebody wearing Nike shoes and they're not Nike. They're from Walmart. I mean, really, just call it like it is. Now, another thing you can do is Simulive. And I've seen this done very well. I did this with Black Enterprise. All of the sessions were pre-recorded, but the chat was live. So for me, and Karen's acknowledging that, right? I like all live. That's just me. I get a rush off of risk. That's just, I like it. I don't know why, Rob. I like the thrill of knowing that there's 1 minute to go and Alice hasn't shown up yet in the StreamYard stream. I get excited about that. Some people don't like it. Thank you, Kim. Be Live is another one as well. So all those tools you can do. I like that, Rob. So the point is that some people, though, especially for clients, you may want to do pre-recorded for many things to lower the risk level. So, but that we don't have to discuss here. There's no right or wrong. You have enough people here. You all can get together and help each other. So event management, live, and then the virtual exhibit software is another thing. I haven't done this, and I don't think I will ever do this, but there's a number of great softwares out there, especially for bigger events. If you want to have 50 virtual exhibitors, listen, I hope in 2022 this doesn't happen, but in 2021, I think we're going to see more and more of this. So we have to get used to it. So those are just a few things about producing your own events that will work. And again, about sponsors. There's many ways to get sponsors. You can cold call sponsors for sure. But just to touch on the summary of sponsorship is know, like, and trust, building a relationship. Unless you're a big brand, it's hard to get sponsors. But if Kim already knows somebody at MasterCard, she can say, hey, listen, Bob, what's up? You've known me for a long time, Bob. I'm having my first event on financial services. Listen, I'd love you to come and speak. Could you sponsor it for $2,000? Start small. That's your first sponsor. So, and that comes in. I found those of us who are producing content, interview people that you want to build a relationship with. Now, don't do it slimy because people can smell through that. You know what I mean? Don't mix it like, I'm going to use Kim an example. Hey, MasterCard, can I interview you for my show? And then kind of like right after the interview, by the way, could you sponsor it? You guys know what I mean. You got to add some swag to it. You got to, anybody in sales can help y'all with that. You can have another, Alana and Kim can put together another call on sales or whatever, but you got to do it smooth is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not going to go into that here, but there's an art to the ask. And I think all of us are mature enough to know what I'm saying, that you can't just, you want to be altruistic. Kim's literally asking MasterCard, I want to interview for my podcast. But then you have to think, now I am doing this to start the relationship so I can ask them to sponsor me in 6 months. So, and that's something I'm very good at. For example, this year I'll say I'm very proud of myself, and I'm saying it only if it helps you all. I sent a lot of thank you cards. I sent different gifts. I've been in touch with people who are not going to buy from me, but all these are planting seeds because I want to make sure when I ask them for money, that's not the first time they've heard from Ramon Ray. That's the main thing I'm trying to solve. So, okay, moving on. And about 2 more big points to do. And then I think just to give you a heads up, Kim, I'll probably come to a close and hopefully I've left time for whatever the chapter needs to do here or questions or whatever we want to do. So, okay. So producing your own show, again, I probably won't get into the weeds of that. I can if you want, but I know there's many people on this call who could go deeper into this, or you may have had people speak to this, but I'm just giving you the high level. What's made me a successful speaker is producing my own stuff. I'm not going to get into video or audio or podcast. We can get into that. But at the high level, be consistent and produce something. Let me ask you, how many of you are producing consistently anything? Podcast, video, I don't care what it is, but how many of you are consistent? Okay, few of you. The rest of you, okay, no judgment zone. Kim and Karen, I want y'all to start pushing our brothers and sisters along. Take Alana's hand and hold her by the hand. Take Rob's hand and get him to do it. So, but y'all get what I mean. So, but I think you should do this because when you produce your own show and you're consistent, this builds community. This builds relationship. This goes back to the celebrity CEO concept that I've talked about. It puts you out there front and center. So I think I've driven that home already with my concept of personal branding, but I encourage all of you. And please don't do it in 2021 because you know what's going to happen, Kelly? You're going to say, you're going to go on Instagram, Kelly. You're going to tag me. Ramon said I got to do my own show. This is a resolution. Resolutions don't work. So just do it next week, Kelly. All right. So consistent content, interview guests, build your fan base, connect with possible clients. And one way, the easiest way to do a show, listen, I started different things and I stopped them. You could go on Instagram with your phone. I had a thing I did called Coffee with Ramon. It could just be that. Every Thursday morning or every Thursday at 4 p.m., Deirdre or Randy or whoever is going to go on Instagram and do that. And guess what happens? Randomly, you may get somebody who comes onto the Instagram feed with you. You can bring them on an interview with them. It makes it easier, than Alice have to be on there for 20 minutes. Hi, this is Alice. It's my first show. Ramon said I had to do a show. I don't know what to talk about. So I'll get on there and invite people. And the tip, I think you'll know this, make sure they're on their phone and they have headphones on. That's just my tip, okay? So because on the phone, you can bring other people. I don't think you can do it on the desktop version yet and have them use headphones so there's no echo. That's just a little tip. But I found Instagram, Facebook, easy. Or you can, go up a level like me and Kim do, Be Live or stream other things and do a show on your PC. But as an easy, just starting out, use your phone, okay? So I encourage you all, do your own show. And I encourage you, get a good graphic with it. Make it look legit. I want to see Jen's medical show, needles and stethoscopes. I don't know, whatever it'll be. So get them, but graphic will make it look legit. Do as best you can. And as Kim said, use it, upgrade your tool. Have it look good as best you can. And if you can't, just do it, but at least your background. Have good lighting. Have a nice background, whatever. Have it look as good as you can. Okay, so we're at kind of my last big bullet point. Then I'm going to summarize here. I'm just going to go over quickly here some power tools that I use. I probably won't do screen share. I could, but I think that may take a bit too much time. But I'll stop if I like. But one I will call out, actually, what I will show you is Asana. I'm going to show you one thing here how I'm using Asana. I wasn't going to share my screen, but I think I am. Let's see if I can. This may fail, but the reason I'm doing it because I had something I did with Robert Kennedy III. Me and him had a little session together, and we were learning from each other Asana. And again, I'm showing you Asana, but this could be any task management tool you're using. I'm curious how many of you use Asana? Okay, a few of you, good. How many of you use another tool? And how many of you are using no task management tool right now? Okay, fine. So I use a task management tool. I have a team, so that's the main reason why. Those of you who don't have a team, you may not use it, but I hope this is helpful. Let me try to share the screen. Hope this works. I know I have permission, but screen sharing goes wrong sometime.
While he's
Let's see.
Up, y'all, it's free.
That's right. It is free. And I've even tried, Kim, to upgrade to the higher version. I just didn't need to do it. Okay, good. So it's sharing. Thumbs up. Kelly, can you see my screen? Okay, because I can't see anybody else. That's why. Okay, thanks, Kelly. So here's what I do. I just wanted to share it with you. I hope it's helpful. Remember I talked before about your flywheel and being in business. So if it's helpful, this is what I do in Asana, but you can do it in any tool. Only about a month or two ago, I created this tag. I think it's a tag called Pillar. None of the things in here are ever going to be check done. I just wanted to remind myself and my team what our core pillars of our business are. It's our 2021 events. Well, that'll be checked, of course, but 2021 events, high level. It's the launch of the Smart Hustle Nation community. I'm showing you my book of business. This is my book of business as speaker. It's our content, and this is duplicated for some reason. Shouldn't be. It's a typo. Shouldn't be. But it's our content. The Ramon Ray brand. Remember I told you that. I am learning to embrace and sell myself. I'm the biggest asset for my company. We have to then focus on our clients and services, and this is kind of a catch-all. So that's one way I'm using Asana. Just to have here, what are the high-level things that we should never, ever forget how our business runs? Then here's where I have my book of clients. So these are our active clients I'm working on. You can see the names here. Proposals. Now, I had been sending out, I had proposals here. I kind of don't have that system perfected. You can use Asana to do it or Zoho. It doesn't really matter to me. As long as you're reminded, that's the key, the follow-up. Reminded to follow up. And then here's where I have the individual tasks of the things that are in Pillar. So I hope that was a little helpful if it made sense. But and this is, by the way, going back, Kim, you asked about my content manager. This is the stuff that she has. Podcast. See that? So we have a good engine. When all I have to do is interview the person. And here's a hint for you all, Bill.com, right? Who do I want to hire me to host their next big event? Bill.com, the founder sold his other business to Intuit for billions. So you see where I'm going? So I'm showing you, I live what I preach, hopefully, that I'm sharing with you all live there. So was that useful in some way? Did you kind of get what I tried to? Good. So it's not Asana per se, or the detail, the weeds of it, but thanks, Kim. But I hope it gives you the high level view of what I wanted to give you, the inspiration. And as Mark, I think it's Mike, right? Mike or Mark, the guy who had to step away, the other board member? Mike. As Mike said, I gave him things, not necessarily he didn't know, but it got him thinking, okay, I see where Ramon's head's at. Then you can modify this for how you're doing. That's what NSA is all about. That's what NSA is all about. So, okay, I think I touched on that already. Let me get back to my notes. So Asana I use. Another tool I use is Magisto. Magisto is a great tool for creating videos on your phone or even online, like a low-cost version of Adobe Premiere. There's a link I sent to a video I created in Magisto. There's so many videos I've created in Magisto. It's just powerful. A simple way of stringing together your pictures, images, putting some music. And listen, here's another tip. I've been with clients back in the day, we used to be at live events, taking pictures of their events, 10 minutes, created a video in Magisto, tweeted it out. I did it faster than the $50,000 agency team they hired. They were amazed. So Magisto's my secret weapon to do really ninja stuff. And take some time, and you'll have to learn it a bit because it's AI powered and little things you have to learn, like how do you put images in, how do you drop them? But once you learn how Magisto thinks, it gets faster and faster. You put good text. So let me stop because I can talk about it Magisto all day long. BombBomb, many of you know BombBomb already. If you don't, it's called BombBomb, like bomb and then bomb. And that's a great tool to send personalized videos to people with a GIF. Okay, where it like moves and cool. Crystal, I think, swears by BombBomb, and I love BombBomb as well. I've used it for some time now. Other tools that I use, Rev.com. Rev.com is a great tool to use for captions and things. Here's a link to, this is my affiliate link to Rev. I think I get like 2 cents if you click on that. Maybe I get 1 cent. I can't remember, but either way, it'll buy me some candy. But that's Rev.com. And it's great for transcriptions, captions. How many already knew of Rev.com or other services like that? Good. So many of you know already. Good. And those of you don't, and Rob is emphatically, yeah, it's a good tool, simple to use. The cost, some people I'll just say also talk about free versus, please, Elena.
Hey, Ramon, real quick, the Magisto, how do you spell that?
Sure. Magisto. Thank you for asking. I'm going to put it in the magisto.com. Yep.
I had it spelled all wrong.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Rob, please.
Who have the NSA Zoom, it does now do automatic transcriptions of what you're doing in Zoom. And that's free and part of that service.
Awesome. Yep. So, yeah. So, and the other way, going back to, as I said, self-promotion, when other people interview me, and that's happening more and more and more, I thank God for that my brand's getting out there, I'm interviewing with people more. I take the YouTube link or the public link, I send that to Zoom. Zoom then transcribes it or whatever. Then I send it to my team, and we have more content. See the circle? So that's how I use Rev. But I mean, to Rev. But as Rob said, those of you using the Zoom link with NSA, a lot of the stuff that you used to pay for, you should leverage part of your account. So thank you for that, Rob. Upwork is another tool I use. Upwork's a great tool I find for hiring freelancers. Upwork. The key of using Upwork, I find, put a good job description. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, the one thing you should not do, you should not put in the subject line, I need a virtual assistant. Do not do that. No. If you need a graphic designer, don't put in there, hi, I need a graphic designer. Don't do that. Here's what I did. My executive assistant currently that I've been with now for 4 or 5 years, I can't remember. Here's the job description. Need someone who eats Infusionsoft and drinks Eventbrite. That was the headline. Guess what? Out of the zillions of people on Upwork, There's only a handful that know that language. Only a handful. So that's the kind of just a cool tip when you're looking for freelancers. You know, my graphic guy, I put out there, I'm looking for someone who makes delicious graphics. Things like that, because then they also get who they want to work with. People can make a decision. Delicious graphics or eats Zoom? No, what a stupid guy. Great. Call me stupid guy. Great. Don't apply, please. But those who like that, they'll apply. So it kind of sounds weird, but if that makes sense. So see, Zoho already talked about marketing automation. I use Infusionsoft. Another thing is mastering your email inbox. I found this very useful. Another time you can confess right now, how many of you have over 1,000 emails in your inbox? Okay. Y'all got to stop this. So what I have, usually about 5 in my inbox by the end of the day. And I filter very well, auto filter. So, another thing I do, my email newsletters go to email newsletter at smarthustle.com. That automatically filters them to another folder called Catch Up Reading, which I catch up every Friday. So all the stuff that I still want to read doesn't have to hit my inbox, goes there. I also use auto replies, not auto replies, but like pre-made replies. Like I get a lot of emails about, hey, Ramon, can I be on your podcast? I have several replies. This is not an opportunity for me, but thank you. It's a soft way of saying no. Or we don't cover this right now. Thank you. Or thanks. Jamie will take care of this. So I use a lot of that, which speeds up and helping me to delegate, forward, or delete quickly. So that's when I can go more by email. But another thing, it's a few more tips here, then I'll be done, is I control my calendar pretty well as well. Anybody use any automation tools in their calendar, Calendly or Auto Calendar, anything like that? Anybody use it? Some of you do, good. Now, another thing I've done in Calendly, and I think those of you who used it longer than me, Alana probably knows this already, I just realized it, but here's what I've done. And it'll be, for half of you, it'll be like, for the half, it won't be that crazy. But the point is that in Calendly, which is but I've told it, don't book anything Monday and Friday. I didn't know you could do that. So, right, Alana? So now my world is more free. Now, this doesn't mean I don't have things booked for Friday or Saturday, but that means that I have more control over it. So Tuesday to Thursday, I fill up the whole day. So Monday and Friday is a bit freer. So that's just some things that I'm doing. Canva I use. Canva is a great tool for DIY design. But again, and Canva's good in a pinch. But I think that you may want to hire a designer for things that have to really look good. But Canva, C-A-N-V-A, most all of you know it. And I'm just going to paste in here some recommended books I have that I read. This is no money to me or anything, but just some recommended books I have. And I think I'll end in summarizing. I think if that's okay with you, Kim, I'll just say 5 key summary points. And I'm just going to start at the top. But the things I've said today, really, and then I'm happy to take it where you want it, is I've encouraged, I think it's all as speakers, to be a business owner and not just be a speaker. I think that's the one thing that I've seen. If we're just professional speakers, then we're just professional speakers. But I'm trying as best I can to be a business. This is what I want to be, a business. Second thing, I talked about what's your flywheel. And I think that's really important. So your flywheel, I've already sent a link to Jim Collins' book. Your team is important. Are you planning ahead? Business development. We have to be our own heads of business development. What am I doing to look for opportunities, to leverage, to work with others, to partner with others, to uplift others, to triangulate? So I think our own business development people, risk-taking, that seemed to resonate with some of you as well. And I encourage, everybody's risk is going to be different. Everybody has a different appetite for risk. But I encourage you all to be risk-takers, partnering with others. And lastly, a selfish thing I'll say, if y'all want to get Celebrity CEO, my book, and review it on Amazon. That's the key, review it. I want more than 100 reviews over some period of time. I'd be so honored to take a look at Celebrity CEO. But beyond that, I'm going to turn it back over to Kim and the team. And I'm just so honored to be here. And thank y'all for having me. And I hope you learned at least one thing today.
Thank you. Ramon, this is awesome, awesome, awesome. We appreciate you more than you know. And I'm not just being nice because that's the thing you should say to your guest. This has been great, especially because, as you said, going into 2021, we are probably going to still be have some challenges in terms of our businesses, and you gave us a lot to chew on, and I appreciate that. Before we get out of here, what is this?
12:40, 40 to the hour now.
Right. No, I just. Okay, so before we go, I want to see if there are any questions before we have a little presentation. Anybody have questions for Ramon that you didn't get in along the way because he did an amazing job of letting us talk along the way. Anybody with questions? I'm gonna unpin the spotlight. Go to gallery.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Alice.
Okay. So my question is, Ramon, when you look at how you manage your business, what percentage of your time would you say you spend on the certain key points, certain key parts of your business? For example, how much do you really spend on the business management, and how does that compare to the amount of time you actually spend generating income, actually speaking and doing things that people are paying you for?
Yeah, good question. Maybe you can help me unpack this, Alice. I'll just tell you about my typical week, if that's helpful. And Asana helps me divide that. But there's the things that are, what's the word? The word I'm thinking of is out of my head, but what are the things you call it, Alice, that you don't have to do, other people can do, but it's still generating a check? Scalable. So one of the things I have in my business are things that are scalable. So let's say with a client like SAP, that's not scalable. I sold the contract. That took some time, selling it, being on 2 calls, let's say, 2 or 3 calls and a few emails, whatever time that takes in a month. Then now I have to produce the event. Several times a month, I'm producing at my time. That's one bucket. Other bucket, Alice, let's say my client, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I sold it. That was probably just a quick email. Ramon, can you do this? Yes, done. Now I can send it to my team. They're doing everything else. That's scalable. I just sold it, which is what I like to do. And I'm small enough, I will always be the chief salesperson for the foreseeable future. I'm fine with that. So I sell it, other people can execute. Then there's the part that probably takes the most time, Alice, which what I love more. Well, the third thing is then Ramon's brand. I do a lot of stories, Facebook videos. Some of you may see it. I do in the NSA group. And some people ask me, Ramon, are you in the NSA group because you're selling something? I got nothing to sell. No, I just like people. So that's the third bucket I have. And I think the last bucket I'll say is then, and then the fourth bucket is dreaming, Alice, and thinking ahead of time. So next year, we're going to be producing a leadership conference, a marketing conference, and 2 Survive and Thrive summits. But since I get distracted, I'm keeping the high level viewpoint. That's what I'm thinking. And another thing I do, Alice, and I hope this is not too long, but I hope it's helpful. I scroll Asana a lot, meaning since I don't want to get into the weeds of typing long copy, I look into Asana and just make sure my team's doing it. They're good, so they don't need me to. Is that helpful? So that's more so kind of me inspiring, leading. Let's say Alana was on my team as an example. Hey, Alana, are you working on this? Yes, Ramon. Done. I don't have to talk to her in 2 days. So that's what I spend a lot of my time because I want to be the producer, the visionary. But since I get distracted, I don't like the bureaucratic details, other people can do that. So I think, and the last thing I'll summarize, Alice, is that probably my biggest role as far as the business is selling. That's my biggest asset to the company besides my face and my thought leadership. Is that a little helpful?
That's very helpful. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, do we have any key takeaways you want to share before we make our final little presentation?
Everything.
Thank you.
I mean, I love the whole idea of learning how to embrace myself. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but everything today, I love the opening of first, you've got to be a great speaker and you've got to be authentic. So that's like number one. And then once you've got that, then we as we're growing that, we grow our business. I mean, this was just, I needed this right now. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah.
This for me was a gift today. The biggest gift I've had since March.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
It is. I can't wait. I can't wait to go do this. I can't wait to automate my videos. I can't wait to, I got a lot of work here.
We got a lot of, we do.
I'm going to get Asana.
So yeah, I'll give one. And so for me, it is it's monetizing what I have, because I have a lot of content, and I'm going to probably pick your brain offline about your team, because I think that's obviously going to be key, but it is monetizing the content that I have, and then probably adding some things that make it easier to monetize. And maybe I've missed an opportunity, but to just try to rethink it and to really work on the flywheel. That to me was brilliant. I think the flywheel will be business changing for me. So thank you for that.
Indeed, it was for me. I saw your hand, Alana, but it was for me too. Yeah, that's where, Kim, the transition from speaker, and I'm just sharing with you, it's been on my journey. And I think it happened, I can't remember when, but a year or two ago, I started listening to Dave Ramsey's Entree Leadership. And for some reason it kicked in. I'm a speaker, yes, but I can't just be a speaker. I can't. This is a business.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's big or small, whatever. So anyhow, I'm repeating myself, but yes, Kim. Alana, please.
Oh, yes. I was just going to say, some of the takeaways were definitely what you were adding about social media. Some of those insights were really, really helpful. I'm still curious. I'm a little hesitant with the LinkedIn stories because I had to stop doing Facebook stories because whenever somebody comments or likes or whatever, it goes into your messenger thing, and then I start losing messages. And so I just hope they implemented it a little better. But I look forward to using it because LinkedIn is where our community and our clients are. So thank you for that.
So you didn't explicitly say it, but my takeaway is, so when you think about this as a business, then you give yourself permission to get help because you can't do it all to be successful in a business.
Yeah, exactly. Invest in people doing what you need done but don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so this has been, like Karen said, this has been, I don't want to say life-changing, it may seem dramatic, but it has really been eye-opening and freeing. And I think we all have some tasks to do. And so we appreciate the fact that, you don't like charge. And if you did, we probably couldn't afford whatever your fee would be. So we want you to know how much we appreciate you spending time with us. And so Jackie wants to share a little something, and I'm going to see if I can, how do I do this here? Hang on.
Hey, Ramon.
Hey, Jackie.
Great to be so closely with you on this Saturday morning. Very fun. We all appreciate this. To wake up on a Saturday and you're an hour ahead of us in the East Coast and share your knowledge, share your wealth and your breadth of everything that you share with us. We sincerely appreciate it. A lot of times this can become a multi-business. Now, you seem to have built a small business, but sometimes as a small business owner, it is lonely because a lot of people don't understand your struggle. And sometimes people may see whatever you do on the outside, and on the inside, it's not, appreciated fully. So what we like to do is really offer our sincere thanks for everybody that was able to attend. If you see the screenshot that Kim is sharing, it's everybody kind of giving their personal testimony of what they got from the presentation so far. And it's just something that you can reflect on when you have time, or when you feel lonely.
To me as well, that I can print it out?
We're going to send it to you.
I'm going to cherish that.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't cry too much.
Yay!
We appreciate the tears.
You know what? I can also use this as a kudos and et cetera for other things. So thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, team.
Of course.
And so I will be, I'll send that to you via email. Should have gotten another email from us, and I need you to send me your address because there's something we'd like to also share with you. But thank you guys. I want to say this to those of you who spent today. Thanks. I know we're up against a holiday, so we appreciate it. Those who weren't able to get here, we do have people who have the all access pass. They're going to be blessed when they go and see the recording of this particular video, because this has been an amazing workshop. We appreciate you so much. And I want to remind you to pay attention to your emails, because we have a fun holiday event. Mark your calendar for December 11th. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be fun. And so Karen's got some great ideas. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna get through this. And as we wind down 2020 and really plan for 2021, right? And so I appreciate all of you. It's great to be a part of this community. If there is, and we will send these notes that Ramon has shared. And if there is nothing else, I'm gonna listen. And we got 11 minutes to spare. Rob, do you have something? You were waving?
Well, I was going to add something to the holiday party as an encouragement to everybody. Bring somebody with you, right? Our holiday party that we have December of every year is a great time of networking, connection, and fellowship. We've had a chance to sit around and laugh and play games and tell some jokes that we don't bring up on Saturday mornings. So come, it is BYOB. So bring your B, whatever that B is for you. So we're really looking forward to that. And we're going to have some prizes because one of the things that we continue to do as a chapter is give back to our members. So come, make sure that you come to have some fun, and you might leave with some great prizes. I want to thank Kim for her excellence in putting this program together. Thank you, Kim. And thank you, Ramon, on behalf of our entire chapter. I know you've been thanked, but we can't thank you enough. We'll continue thanking you. And so we're so grateful. What I want to do, just to honor everybody's time, is I do want to go ahead and close our meeting because we are on a holiday weekend, but the room is going to stay open. But before I do that, I'm sorry, I did want to mention, because Kim made mention of it, if you don't have an all access pass, you need to get one. And the reason I wanted to say that is because we have so many things vying for our attention, and there's some Saturdays that we can't make it. Well, when you have an all access pass, you don't have to worry about it. And not only do you prepay for your meetings, you get a discount for that, but you also have access to about 4 years of content. So as you're building your speaking business, do it with some great content from some great NSA speakers who have blessed us in either face-to-face or virtual before. So we count it a privilege that you're here today, and we hope that we see you again. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. I'm air quoting it because, again, we can hang on and keep talking. So thank you guys so much for coming, and y'all have an awesome day. Bye.